We're live.
Don't tell me the NFL's not bulletproof. That was the shittiest slate of football of all time. I mean, just awful. And here we are. And here you are back in the chow line. What week was that? 12?
12, yeah.
Week 12.
Week 12, baby.
Bo, what up? What up, bro? You got a different background this week? What's going on?
Bricks.
What up, bruh? It's an away pod for me. I'm in the lovely state of Minnesota, home for the holidays. Repping my Surly Brewery hat right now. It's a corduroy hat. It's very vogue in Minnesota, but yeah, in the great state of Minnesota, I love it. Perfect.
What? You hear that?
Oh, whoa. Hello, John. Yeah.
I got a soundboard now since I seen you last, bro. Shit's about to change around
Oh, wow.
Here. Oh, that's right.
The come up is real.
That's right. The come up is real.
Can we get custom? Yeah. Can we get a wait a minute, player?
Dude, you know I got it. You know I got it, bro. I don't want to wear out the soundboard early in the show, though.
Wear it out.
Wear it out.
I don't want to wear it out. Guys,
you got to let the chat populate.
Wear it out. We got so many sounds on the soundboard. It's hard for me to find the damn.
Hold on a minute.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got to let the chat come up with like a new soundboard option.
No question. Maybe that's the. Oh, by the way, we got to do MRP today, so don't let me forget. Okay?
Yeah.
When we get there.
Arizona, Seattle.
Arizona, Seattle, and what a game that was. I'm opening up YouTube so I can glance at you guys. Hey, and just off the top, I threw on another shirt with a collar just to fuck with you guys.
It looks better.
Somebody had a problem with that.
It looks better today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you look good.
This shirt's more me. You know? I love your background, Bo. You should just stay there. You sound great too.
Minnesota.
Yeah, you sound great too. What's up, everybody in the chat? Welcome to the show. Got a lot to get to. Where do we start, Cowboy?
Well, we're going to start first with the Green Light merch sale. We've got a very special Black Friday sale for everybody. If you go to any of our socials, if you go to the Substack, Greenlight Substack, you can find anything you want to know about the gear. You can get it 20% off all gear that we have going on. And yeah, you want to look good. You want to buy some merch and some things for your friends and family. Do it,
bro. I'm glad you bought a house plant because otherwise you look like maybe a hostage. Seriously,
talking to me?
Yeah. The guy with the house plant.
Well, I'm at Divine Fox Studios right now in North Loop, Minneapolis. I want to give them a shout out. They just moved up the second story, a new pod area.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. But Chris, speaking of houses and houseplants, that's actually going to be my Bevel Conway this week. I talked about this a little bit, but I'm building a house in Minnesota. Haven't been back in a couple of months. Dealing with some flooding and shit like that in Tampa. Got back and my house looks amazing. There it is right there. Cowboy pulled it up. Look at that blue stone. Look at that sod. Look at that off-white, tasteful off-white coloring on the home in the background. And a proud homeowner in the front. That's me. That's my Bevel Conway this week. A little bit of personal information for everyone in the chat.
That's very personal, Bo.
What's your address, Bo?
Easy to Google Earth that,
yeah.
I feel like.
I'll plug my address in the chat. Matt Roth and 40 Gumble and everyone else in there can pop on over for a surly with the boy.
Hey, congrats, man. It's a nice looking
Thank
house.
you.
We've been
It's
working
exciting.
on that a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone's gonna
over
find
for a
your
little
address,
housewarming
Beau.
party.
that picture.
The chat just reminded me
What?
that bet, that
Yeah.
long shot bet that
Yeah.
I was talking about in the chat yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
that I cashed out early.
Yeah.
I gave that bet out,
Oh, you did?
Bang bang.
and someone made.
And
some
guess what?
money
You shouldn't. I
off
mean,
it.
you didn't lose that much, but you
Yeah.
shouldn't have cashed that thing out.
I definitely shouldn't have.
Gino
bro.
came through.
Bro, Gino, when he threw that pick, I was like,
I know.
I need to get my money
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
fine. That's fine.
We shouted out Divine Fox Studios. Let's also shout out BetMGM, the homies around here.
Let's bet him.
They allow Nate to drop some wisdom.
Okay, here we go. As you know, we've teamed up with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for you listeners each week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT, and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. That looks so good, I would think it would be a typo. But I read this every week, and it says the same thing every week. Here's how it works. Number one, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code GREENLIGHT. Number two, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Number three, you will receive up to a $1,500 bonus bet. Can I call it a coupon? I'm going off script here. If your bet loses, just make sure you use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up. And
Bang.
Yeah.
you can even bet the Titans these days.
I meant to bring some mayo packets.
Oh, bro.
I
I don't want to be sick this morning.
And
Hey.
if you're in the chat, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Let's get the
Give us some
algorithm
love.
going.
That's right. That's right.
Get some more live watchers.
Yep. Off the top, I want to wish my 5-year-old Luke, who's about to be 6 tomorrow, a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Luke.
Sagittarius.
Lou.
Yeah, he was in the, he's always up hanging out with the boys on Sundays. And
He's telling us how much the Broncos suck and
Oh,
how
yeah.
much he loves the Chiefs.
oh man, man, but he's not a Chiefs fan. He's an Eagles fan.
Right.
The Eagles,
Yeah.
and then he walked away for like an hour last week when y'all lost to Kansas City and came back up, stormed into the room after Kansas City blocked that field goal. And he goes, "That's what you get, Reed." So happy birthday to Luke. Happy birthday, Luke, man. Hey, Thanksgiving week. I just wanted to tell you all this. Friday's going to be a little different. I'm giving guys the day off. I'll do the show solo from my house. It'll be a live show just like, any other time. I'm just going to watch the games Thursday, break them down, look ahead to the weekend. I know Friday everybody's in like a food coma. So I'm just going to give people the day, I'm sure you're all super bummed.
We earned it, bro.
Yeah, you guys.
Sickest boss out here.
Dude,
You're sick, dude. Sick boss. Sick boss alert.
Boss in the studio. Put your hands in the air.
All right, that's what it's going to be this week. I'll tell you that much. Thanksgiving week. That's what it's all about.
But it's Thanksgiving.
And I'm coming around on the Thanksgiving games because obviously with the way the Dolphins are playing, Thursday night's going to be fun. And then additionally, I'm behind the Tommy Cutlets Cooper Rush thing that we're going to see. Like I'm all the way in on that. Maybe it's Drew Lock if we're lucky.
Hey.
'Cause Malik Neighbors was going off yesterday about.
I put
You
on.
think they're going to shame him into playing?
I would love that. I'd love to see Drew Lock. Linsanity wasn't as fun after the first time.
The Giants right now,
Yeah.
they're trying to cut losses. The last thing
They don't want to win.
The last
They're
thing
trying to
they want
stack
to
losses,
happen
dude.
is them to win and then Drew Lock throw a bunch of touchdowns and hit an incentive.
I got a question. Can somebody in here tell me why the Bears are catching 10.5 against the Lions? That stinks to high heaven.
Lions keep covering.
Well, I understand, but is somebody hurt or something? Or do you think this is an in earnest?
You think that's
I
too
think
high?
it'll come down to 9.5.
I'm gonna. That's what she said. I'm going to bet the Bears. Like, yeah, it's just too many points, man. The way they're playing right now, they're playing a little bit tough with Tom. But we'll get to that.
The BTA will continue. The BTA tour.
belt to ass, man.
The belt to ass
They were belt to
tour,
ass
bro.
and we'll get to that in a few. But hey, I want to give out an America's team right now. America's team, 33rd team. Please save the Jets, for fuck's sake. I don't want to see. Do you know the Jets are consulting with 33rd team to pick their next GM, which is a bit of an unorthodox move, like to do it with a media outlet like that. But like the 33rd team, if you don't know, is something that like Mike Lombardi started.
Yep.
And it's actually
Tannenbaum, yeah.
or Tannenbaum did.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So Tannenbaum started it, and obviously he's got a history with the Jets, but it's like a conglomeration of like former coaches and football thinkers and execs. And I've been on a couple of those calls where like they asked me to come on a call or two last year, and I just couldn't because it was like it kept conflicting with our show time. But I came on one of the calls, and I open up Zoom, and there's like 40 guys that I recognize on that Zoom. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's like a think tank.
It's a think tank.
Yeah.
And so for the Jets to be consulting, period, is a good thing. But I actually think that works pretty well. So I hope for football's sake that maybe the 33rd team can save the state of New York, the state of football in the state of New York.
Yep.
And I would think item one would be like, what do we do about the quarterback? I don't think a GM is going to want to come in if he's going to be there next year.
What would you tell them if they were consulting you, Chris, to do with that quarterback?
Oh, I would say, hey, thanks for your service, man. But it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's it's not a bad thing. It's not like hey, this is not personal. As you know, it's a production business.
Take a hike.
Is this potentially like our last season seeing Aaron Rodgers play? Because if they cut him and let him go, who's going to pick him up?
I'm not really sure, but it is tantalizing. I don't care how old the quarterback is. We've seen old quarterbacks, win games in this league. Like there is reason to believe that the Jets are so broken that even Superman can't fix them. But he doesn't look like Superman right now. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And when you add up all the other stuff that like, you could call it what you want. It's just hard to imagine me being a GM and wanting to walk in and deal with that situation, especially when there's other jobs and I can wait another cycle. Same thing with coaches. But we don't need to beat that I don't want to say beat a dead horse. We haven't got to the Colts yet.
Yeah.
And you can't say that anymore. You can't say that anymore. You can't say that anymore. Bad host. All right.
Eagles. What'd you see last night?
The Eagles. What did I see?
The back of Saquon's jersey.
Yeah, pretty much like most people. That was a bludgeoning, Bo. That was absolute
Fun to watch, man.
A lot of fun to watch.
I liked it.
It felt like they knew what they were doing when they walked in the building and they did it, which is something that at times I haven't felt like was the case with this group, whether it came from on high or whether the owner's like saying, hey, we want to see you pass the ball, or whether it's Nick wanting style points or Kellen Moore. But, like, they were all on the same page last night, and it was about the big guys. I think the Rams' young front is very good, and I think they're going to be very good. They're going to grow together in the league. But they ran into a buzzsaw last night. Like, there's one other group like that group, and I still like the Philly group because of Pass Pro, Detroit's group. But Philly's group is just bigger. They're just bigger, and you could see that when they were pushing guys around last night and opening holes, like little nudges on double teams on the way up to backers just turned into chasms, Bo, chasms that Saquon was running through.
Well, I saw some stat today on Twitter. Sorry, the website formerly known as Twitter, but it was like 216 yards or something like that for Saquon before he was touched. But before we get into that too much, best seat for me is Nick Sirianni. With that win, he's now 43-19, which is the second highest winning percentage among active head coaches.
Undefeated since that haircut.
Yeah.
He's the only coach in franchise history to start his career with 4 winning seasons. Now that the Birds have won 9. We were kind of critical of Nick, after the Saints game earlier in the season, some of the other, emotional outbursts that he had. But, like, he has the best seat right now. Like, he's crushing it. His win percentage is great. The Birds are rolling. Saquon looks like an absolute god amongst men. Like, dude, you think about some of the, like, I don't know, man. They just looked so comfortable and so good. And then, post game, Jalen Hurts smile when he's getting asked about Saquon. It's like,
the smile, dude. I feel like something happened with Jalen over the past month of the season where he was like, you know what? I don't have to be out there like a CEO in every post-game interview. Like, I'm going to just fucking have fun. I'm going to loosen up, and I got this they brought me this like war horse from New York from in the division, and he just galloped in, and now like everything's easy, and you know, like have some fun. I love the way these guys are. They're 9-2 now. They were 10-1 last year, Bo. How different does it feel? It feels totally different.
Well, yeah, I mean, it feels very different. It feels like they're built to win down the stretch, which they struggled with last year. But like, look at the run game, look at the O-line. Like, talk about Sirianni and how effective he's been as a head coach. But like, dude, I love Jeff Stoutland.
Yep.
You talk about the O-line there, like you have to talk about Stout, and they've been banged up too. Like Jordan Mailata came back from a hamstring injury, right? And then Lane was banged up at times, and then look at Mekhi Becton, who's playing unbelievably well, sliding into that, right guard position. He's been a tackle historically, but a huge body. Stout got him right. The O-line is rolling. Juergens is coming in for, Jason Kelsey because he's too busy doing all these commercials. He retired. It's like it's a really good unit.
What a shot at your personal friend. That actually leads me to my next point, which is a game ball. I got a game ball to give out here. Jeff Stoutland, we shouted him out last week on Inside the NFL. I made him my football guy, won the contest with him. You can tell Bill Belichick likes the guy, respects the guy. His eyes lit up when I submitted Stoutland. But you said it, Becton. Becton played great last night. I mean, he's just fit in, and you can tell how much confidence he has. You know how much confidence Coach Stout puts in these guys while coaching them hard, while getting the best out of them, the whole thing. And playing next to Lane helps, but like consider everything he's done. The Becton thing, Fred Johnson has said it himself. He basically resurrected his career. One tackle was a rugby player. One tackle was a JUCO QB who's now the best
quarterback.
QB tight end, like couldn't find a damn position, and now he's the best pass blocking tackle in the NFL. Don't get it twisted. And like you can chalk a lot of that up to, he's got great players, but there's a story behind each one of these players and how they were developed. And so like you talk about GM Howie Roseman bringing in the right guys, and then saying, hey, here, coach, here's a ball of clay. And what he's done is he's molded this group into the biggest, most punishing group in football. And then you add Saquon, who's third in the MVP odds right now. I got to give the game ball to the offensive line coach because I know Saquon's that good, but do people know how good Coach Stout is? It's a great point, Bo. He deserves a lot of credit. And just to come out of the half and make that statement. Like, look at the wide receivers blocking on that play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like Covey gets a knockdown block. A.J. Brown with a block. And I heard Chad Johnson talk about this. Like, when you have a great back in the backfield, the wide receivers block harder. Because they think any play can be out the gate. And so, like, not only that, but the minute Saquon's in the second level, Covey's hands are up, AJ's hands are up.
Jalen hand the ball off and it starts pointing. He knows right away that was going to be a 70-yarder, man. And you don't see a ton from him. Like, he's not a shit talker, like he's not necessarily the most emotional quarterback, but like you could tell, like he's hyped about that. The whole team's rolling. Then everyone on the sidelines going crazy too. Like, how do you not love that?
That's why he could be an MVP, in my opinion. He's elevated this group to a level where you unlock. Here's my question, Bo, Nate. Do you remember a back this good running behind an offensive line this good ever? I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I mean in modern football.
Emmitt Smith came to mind.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
In the 90s. But since 2000, I can't remember anybody.
No, because
do you think Emmitt's better than Saquon?
I do not, but that offensive line was one of the greatest of all.
Offensive line's incredible.
Was the Vikings O-line that good?
Behind in front of Adrian Peterson? Not
Brian
this
McKinney.
good. Not this good.
Yeah, not this
Same
good.
thing with Tom Cable's group in Seattle in front of Beast Mode. It was just a bunch of scrappy dudes. They had some good players like Russell Okung and some good center and that sort of thing, but like they weren't the talent that they have on this offensive line. And we didn't even mention Cam Juergens, who kind of looks like Kelsey 2.0 when he gets up to the second level. They have the perfect combination of that quick dude that can spring long runs and then these big, massive guards, Dickerson and Becton. It's a thing of beauty. And then the final run that he breaks when they're in 4-minute mode backed up, that is a perfect example. And I know it means nothing and the game's over, but to me, it illustrates the danger of loading the box against these guys, Bo. One guy's you can put 10, 11 guys in there. That's great. You might have 3 yards in a cloud of dust once or twice, but
one guy gets beat on a gets reached, gets out of his gap. It's like it's one of those things where it's like goal line defense, where it's feast or famine,
Yes.
right? And if you have one guy who gets beat on a reach or like gets kind of twisted on the backside on that backside scoop or whatever it
That's
might
right.
be, like you're almost on the second level with one high safety. Like I'm taking Saquon in that every day. But like, dude, the run game too, how successful it is, that opens things up for AJ Brown, who played really well. I think he had over 100 yards. Got it somewhere down here. He's 109 yards and a touchdown. But like, you just got to feel so good about the Eagles offensively. But defensively, man, they've been playing really good too. And everyone's talking about their 2 rookie, young rookie DBs. They deserve all the love that they get, but I got to give some love to Brandon Graham. You know, we love him. He's actually getting my game ball. He had a sack last night. I think that takes him to 3rd overall in Eagles history, as far as like Eagles history. Yeah. So he has 76 and a half sacks, which is incredible. 15 seasons. And then we love him for the guy he is.
Played, I think too.
Yeah.
I think he has like 200
something.
6 games.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Dude, the longevity is
he's
just,
the fucking man.
The longevity is insane. He's kind of like, it's like when he gets the guy's hand down last night. There are not a lot of guys who can just do this and win. It's because guys are doing this when they block him. They're punching down, and he's got this great leverage, and the leverage is aged beautifully, and strength ages well. So like he was able to, and I don't like putting in past tense, like because he could come back and everything, but it kind of felt like that was it. And just the way that he stood at the locker and was like, "Hey, I'm done." They couldn't believe it, and and then it quickly turns
you don't
to
see a lot of that, like
no
in the NFL. Like people, like I think everyone was really surprised. I didn't realize that his injury was that serious when it happened during the game, and then obviously the emotion for him. Like he is an emotional guy. Like he is a guy who's like just a fucking great leader, but he's one of those guys that can't hide. He can't hide the way he feels about something, you know? Like that's obviously something that's so important to him. And he just had to let it out, at the locker, at his locker after the game, which like, you don't really see that kind of raw emotion from dudes when they just find out they have like an injury like that. So like, I thought that was kind of just a testament of like who he is, how important this shit is to him. Like, he's devastated by that, but he's an unbelievable guy, and I'm not counting him out next year at all.
I wouldn't count him out. I just know he was kind of like, I would imagine him coming into this season and being like, this is it. Like, I haven't talked to him about if this is it or not. Like, I texted him this morning, I'm so sorry. But, like, I don't talk to him about, strategy. And, like, every guy's year to year. I mean, and he could wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm not done. I was playing pretty well. And he'd have all the – There were guys back in the day that played a long time. It's kind of like the new thing is, like, get in and get out when you can. But I think there's a threshold you cross as a player where you're like, okay, at this point I have crossed a point where I'm like, I'm going to go until I can't anymore. There's like leaving on your terms, and then there's like, hey, all right, I'm going to keep going, and I'm not going to stop until they run me out of here. And if it's a torn tricep that does it, in my opinion, that was really badass. In my opinion, like, to finish, everybody wants to finish playing well. That's everybody's goal. You talk about the ways you can come out of the league. You can leave on your terms, on their terms, or injury, right? And, the guys that can leave on their terms, that's great. But the guys that leave playing great, even if they're made to leave, like, that's badass to me. I'm looking at BG, and I'm like, you can say your last game you went out on your sword, and your body gave out, but you didn't. You never quit. You never. People said, why is he coming back again? He's 36 years old, whatever it is, like. He played really well this year, and this was probably the best game I'd seen him play in a while. And to leave in that fashion, he should be very proud. However the chips fall, man. Like I got nothing but respect for the dude. He was one of the best teammates I ever had. Really.
Yeah. Unbelievable guy. Love the guy. He's got that energy, man. It's infectious. So I know he'll still be around the locker room, still be in that leadership role, even though he won't be on the field, but we got to give him his flowers, man, because he's the fucking man. Like, I love that guy.
Love him to death.
Big friend of the podcast.
Coop, yeah, for real.
Been on 2 or 3 times.
Green Pod.
Green Pod.
Oh yeah, I'm on the Green Pod.
Green Pod.
But I thought the two inside. I thought you were going to say 2 inside guys were great. I mean, Jalen Carter, but also Milton Williams,
man.
Who's going to get paid, and
2 sacks, right? Yeah.
He's a dog. They were beating the right tackle like a drum. They're beating the left tackle. It just was a game where the guys up front really got after it. And to the 5 people on Twitter, I don't think so. I don't think I'm coming out of retirement.
Come on.
Okay.
Now, I did text Howie Roseman this morning a list of pros and cons. Bo, do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, make it a package deal. Come on, I'll play on league.
I'll put you in there. I sent him a shirtless picture that I'm not going to show you. And I said lighting.
Show that on the pod. Put that up.
I don't
Put that
know.
up.
Wife
Come on,
might be
right
mad.
here.
I look
Need
really
that.
good.
Let's go.
I said lighting's not great, but you get the idea. And then I said pros, 250 pounds solid, 800 plus testosterone, all natural, right side of 40, experienced, willing, maybe ready to die, on less drugs than ever. I said can live with Jalen Carter. Cons, could break easily. Wasn't anything special 6 years ago. Prefers left end. Will not practice. Quarterbacks are all fast now. May not be able to catch them. Demands unlimited Uncrustables. Close parking spot. Sit with Dom on flight. $10,000 cash upon signing. So yeah, I mean,
And you got a call immediately, right? A call back.
I got a text back. He said, I can't tell you what he said, but we were having a good time. I mean, I just
About sitting with Dom on the flight though, like
I'd be
those
sick
are
to
two
sit with
big
Dom on
men
the
in an
flight.
airport.
I would love to
Would
sit
be
with
sick,
Dom on
but,
the
like,
flight.
Your knees are touching his knees, and then there's not a lot of room there, big dog. Like,
Yeah. It would be. I would love to go back for like 3 plays and then just get crumpled, and then everybody's like,
yeah. Like,
"He's so Philly. He came back and basically destroyed himself."
Who do you think would do
To be on the
better?
practice squad.
Who do you think would do better right now? You playing center for the Eagles or Jason Kelsey playing end for the Eagles?
Oh, Jason Kelsey playing end because there's
No,
such a
no,
thing
you-
at end. No, centers.
you'd be better at center.
No, dude, I
You're,
can't.
you're a help guy,
No,
not one on one.
Oh, you trying to diminish what a center does?
But you got to the snap. You got to worry about the
You're a
snap
slot
first.
guy.
Yeah, dude, I
ball.
can't do it. That's what I'm saying. I thought you were gonna say like who would be. I know I could still get a bucket, but I'm just telling you. For the people, please stop. I'm 39 years old. I've been out of the game 6 years. All right, the 5 of you this morning. Somebody said, "Bro, you need to get your weight up." I was like, "Bro, you need to chill."
Before we
Thanksgiving, my weight will be up.
My
by
weight
the end
will
of the
be up.
week.
Yeah,
before we move on from this game,
yeah.
I have to give out a mention, and it's going to be the worst seat. You guys might not like this, but the worst seat is going to Jordan Mailata.
Oh yeah, that wasn't great. He was on his
he got
seat
dumped.
in that moment.
Oh, rookie
Yeah.
Jared Verse.
I know, I like him,
Man.
but
Yeah.
And
he's
people
smart.
and people thought that Mailata maybe was too strong to take a bull rush, but anyone can take a bull rush if you do it the right way. And
I don't-
Jared Verse, he knows how to bull rush.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
he
can
does.
definitely catch Jordan off balance, and that's what he did. Like,
Yeah.
and Nolan pointed this out. He's really smart because at that point Mailata is looking inside,
Yeah, he's looking at the
and
snap.
so Verse creeps in.
Yeah.
And when he looks, he's got him on him. Like Verse was in a 9, basically. I don't know if he was in a 9, but he was.
Yeah, oh,
and then
he
he
was.
and then he comes down, and it's like, oh shit. And as
Yeah.
big and strong as Mailata is, he's also 6'8".
Yeah.
If you can get in his chest, and he'll tell you, oh man, that bloke got me in the chest, bro. Like he's probably joking about it right
Yeah,
now. That's a strong bloke.
Did
Yeah.
you see his mom tweet about it?
Mm-mm.
It was pretty funny. I saw this on Twitter today. His mom like took the clip, like quote tweeted it, and just said something completely unrelated to like that clip itself, but like had it in her like tweet. It was pretty good.
That's
Like,
great,
you know,
man. All you can do
it's
is
like,
laugh.
It's like the last clip you want your mom to see.
But that's all you can do is laugh. Thankfully,
No, but they were over there battling because he definitely pancaked him, or I've seen him baptize him a couple of times.
dude, and that's
Like,
the thing. And I just
and really put him into the ground one time.
This is perfect. And also, I want to give out best plane ride to the Eagles because this is the last one they have to take all season.
Ooh,
I think they got to go to Baltimore and like what?
don't say that.
Washington.
Except for going
No,
to
but
the
I mean
Super
the
Bowl.
season.
Oh, the
Postseason?
Oh,
Yeah.
season.
It-
regular
maybe we got to fly to New Orleans. Maybe you know what? So we got to fly to New Orleans, but there is a chance. You can't say it's not possible that they don't take a flight till New Orleans because you never know. Detroit looks unstoppable right now. They look like the best team in the NFC, but I think a week ago people scoffed at me for saying the delta's not as big as you think between 1 and 2. I mean, I think the Eagles, it's not one of those things where it's like they can't compete with Detroit. I think it'd be a good football game. I really do.
And you know what else I realized?
And Detroit could shit the bed at one point and lose a game. And
Tough stretch to close it out for him.
So tough stretch, yeah.
In my opinion, the two toughest teams in the NFL right now are the Eagles and the Lions. And guess what else they're the best at? They have the best touchdown celebration.
Okay, there we go.
Both of them team wise,
I was
they have
hoping
the
you
best,
would get to the
best, like most original. They're not doing the stupid little only the Trump dance. They're doing original stuff.
Yeah.
And I like it.
The Lions are pretty good with their stuff.
Yeah, the Allen Iverson one this past weekend, and the rolling of the dice.
But this is a perfect segue because now we're going to talk about, we went from the NFC East leaders to the NFC North leaders, and these are the two leaders of the pack in the NFC. Okay, and I think what's interesting is the two best teams in the NFC did not get the memo on the running back position being dead, the run game not being important. I went back for shits and giggles, and I was giggling to some of the mock drafts, number one, ahead of the Jahmyr Gibbs pick, and also some of the reviews of the draft after the Jahmyr Gibbs pick. And it is hard to nail the college player thing. It is really hard. That's why it's a thing. Like that, it's like if it were easy, they'd just be like, okay, it'd be slotted like a damn fantasy draft. But it's not. And so I'm not shitting on these outlets, but I looked at SI. In saying all that, I still personally feel that the value of Gibbs that high in the draft was extremely underwhelming. D+. That's from Sports Illustrated. Okay? Pride of Detroit gave him a D+ for that pick. Yahoo Sports gave him an F for the draft. Okay? Not much better for the Gibbs pick. And then this is the quote on the Gibbs pick. Yeah, an F. Perhaps this take will get old takes exposed in 2 or 3 years as a laughably bad take it has. But as things stand right now, the Lions draft class was just baffling. Taking Alabama running back Jahmyr Gibbs with the 12th pick overall in a year that they signed David Montgomery felt extremely rich. Even taking Iowa tight end Sam Laporta with the 34th pick over Notre Dame's Michael Mayer was a head-scratcher. Gibbs and Campbell made the most shocking first-round picks in quite some time, and not in a positive way. Hopefully for the Lions fans, this take ends up wrong. It did. To put it nicely, they had an unorthodox strategy for the 2023 draft. So you got a team now that'll run the ball on 3rd and 8. They'll run the ball on 3rd and 6. They got a change of pace back. They got Sonic and Knuckles that couldn't be any more different. People wrote that thing off as, well, they got to use him as a wide receiver to justify it. And it's just like we talked about being positionless. No, they just give this guy the ball like a running back, and he makes things happen. And so, like, after a game like yesterday where offensively they just do what they're supposed to do. Like, they just steady. This is what I wanted to talk about was, like, the Eagles, they've bought into it. I always talk about a running back not being a dead commodity. It's just it needs to be the final piece. It needs to be the Tetris piece, And then Detroit's kind of built the same thing where they built this offensive line. Hank Fraley does a great job. Good personnel up front. They bring in Montgomery, and then they draft Jahmyr Gibbs. You can make it worth it if you do things right. And when you do things right, teams run into these teams. And because of the way the NFL is going, it's so rare that it's even tougher to stop. You don't practice against teams like this. You don't play teams like this. You don't fit teams up like this. You don't play two backs like this. Like when teams see them, it's like it's like running into a unicorn, a deadly unicorn. And honestly,
there's been a resurgence of the running back a little bit in the NFL this season, Chris.
Nate, you sent me something earlier. What was it? The 3 teams.
It was the 3 teams.
The 3 teams that
Baltimore.
said, "See you later" to the damn.
Yep. So it was Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs.
All those running backs are eaten.
All of them are eaten.
But you could also make an argument for none of those teams that let them go being equipped to win with those guys. So, like, to be fair to those teams, if I were the Giants, I don't know if I'd have kept Saquon.
But still, they're 1, 2, and 3 in rushing. I mean, like,
I know, but the point is, you hear my point, which is the point is, like, they're right, and these winning teams are even more right.
Yeah.
Like, Tennessee, maybe they'd be better than they are this year, and they certainly look pretty good yesterday. But you tell me that they're making a push for the whole thing. You're telling me that the Raiders, I mean, like the Raiders giving away Josh Jacobs is like an act of like, I mean,
It's like the
that's a
nicest
favor.
mercy. Yes.
That's a favor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a favor to that running back.
Mhm.
And it honestly,
Yeah. Someone in the chat said Mixon too, and that's a great point.
Mixon
Yeah.
too.
Mixon also.
And if Houston
Yeah.
wasn't so shitty up front and wasn't calling bad plays right now, like you'd be really enjoying the fruits of that. So like,
Yep.
I even think the Saquon thing's so interesting because it's a narrative thing for sure, where everybody's like, "Yay, Eagles for doing it," and it's the best thing in the world. But at the same time, like,
And also fuck the Giants, you know.
but the Giants,
Like-
honestly, if you're the Giants, like, are you winning with
You're not
Saquon?
gonna- No.
You're wasting his career. So it's an act of public service to give these guys up. And my point, again, for the Detroit Lions is they play a differentiating brand of football, and so do the Eagles, and they're both like Ferraris with mud tires, and it's awesome. And you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it.
Going back to this game though, too, Chris, you got to wonder if JT in Indianapolis, if he's going to be, you know, a Saquon Barkley at some point in a couple years.
The next
you know?
guy,
Is he
right?
Gonna be he's a great player, man, and he's a Wisconsin guy, and I'm loyal to him. But he's a great football player, and it's like, is his career being squandered a little bit in Indianapolis, in Indy? Like maybe, like I could see him kind of going this route.
Looks like
But
a lot.
before we
of
get
it.
too far into this, got to mention Detroit at Indy, anti-bevel Conway.
Yeah, that was
Indy's
mine too.
uniforms did not do it for me. It's just too much blue. I'm blue. Like, I'm blue. Bob.
glad you
I
said
get
that.
it.
You
I-
like the
it looked
Indiana
awful, man.
Knights uniform?
Huh?
Did you hear what they call that?
Not a fan.
The Indiana Knights?
What
The
that-
Indiana Knights? What happens in Indiana?
the Klans members?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, those
Damn, I
bowling
thought
ball,
Baxter jumping
those
down that.
bowling ball black helmets are fire.
They're just
Black
That's
helmets
my.
I like the
that-
black helmets.
See,
The
that's
jerseys,
my
man,
Bevel
didn't do it for
Conway
me.
is the helmets. I like the helmets.
you like the helmet.
You didn't.
It's too much
I mean,
blue, man.
I didn't
All
understand why
black.
they why do the
Black.
C Colts logo on your jersey where the C captain should be also. If you looked, like the whole offensive line turned around, everyone had a
Everybody's
C,
a captain.
and then Quentin had
We're
two
all
C's.
captains.
we're all captains.
Well, listen, I just got to tell you, that's Duke. That
Yeah.
looks like Duke.
Yes.
It looks
Yeah.
like Duke,
Yeah.
and it just looks unserious, man. And they played like a team wearing all blue get-ups with black lids. That's how they played.
Yeah.
And this is 10 penalties, 75 yards, plays of 21, 19, 7, 30, all off the board, a fourth down conversion as well. Jonathan Taylor couldn't find space. You alluded to that. 3.2 yards per attempt. Pressured on 43% of dropbacks. That's what Anthony Richardson was. Almost like the Lions interior said, what about us? Like they played that way. So, Aleem McNeil deserves credit. I want to go back for a second to talking about this Lions defense. Detroit being banged up. Arnold out. Rakestraw on IR. Davis has got a thumb. This is before he leaves the game yesterday. They've had to replace Hutch. They got guys named Nowaski
Bologna.
getting reps. They got Turner. They got Neiman getting reps. They're continuing to fill guys in. Khalif Raymond got hurt. Carlton Davis got hurt at the end. They worked around Vilder. That could be a problem. But I got to say this: Zadarius Smith looked really good in this game. He beat Nelson a couple times, which is no short order. Beat him with a spin, beat him with power, snatch. McNeil played his ass off, okay? He was running that right guard over all day. It was an absolute baptism.
How come you have not been baptized?
And it was an absolute baptism. I love Aleem McNeil, and I love that he's taken this serious enough that he can play 45, 50 plays in a game. He's done that a lot over the last month. Like, he's had to step up, so good for him. But the point I want to make is just organizationally, they're on a heater. We talked about this. Brad Holmes is on a heater. Oh, let's take a chance on DJ Reader, right? He's a guy that he's got a leg injury. He's X amount of years old. He's a heavier guy. It's an injury that happens late in the season. Let's bring him in and see what happens. Well, what's happened is he's solidified that position. Aaron Glenn is doing a great job, honestly. And look at offense. Tim Patrick, we talked a lot about them needing to go out and get a possession receiver. And we were like, let's do it with flashy. Let's go make a trade. Brad Holmes said, no, we'll just get this Tim Patrick guy for nothing.
TP Streets.
Who honestly is that possession receiver for them, but he's blocking his ass off too. I mean, you got to think about things in a macro sense. They found their quarterback in the dumpster, and I mean that with respect to Jared Goff. That's where they left him in L.A. They were like, nope, we want better. And Jared Goff has come in there and been everything and more, everything they ever wanted and more. Not to mention they found their kicker in a fucking brickyard.
Yep.
So, like,
Slinging bricks.
everything they're doing organizationally lines up with the product on the field. They got a great coach. They practice the right way. You can tell that. They practice physically, and they have a style of play that's different. And so if we're going to talk about the Colts, all the problems they had, it's just when you want to play a team this good and win, I don't care if it's at home, on the road, you can't make all these mistakes. The red zone was bad. Okay. Trip 1 to the red zone, you get a penalty. Trip 2, after they take a shot at Vilder, you drop a pass in a ball game where it could change the whole ball game if Ogletree catches this pass at the goal line, which is why I don't want to put a lot of this on Richardson. Okay, Richardson could have been better, but there were moments in this game where guys just let him down. Tight end play is not good. They come out of the half, they go lighter. It's starting to work. They just turned Granson loose. Or was it?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's running a route on air. Just turn your head, brother. Just turn your head. The ball's going to be right on you. It's a huge chunk play. You leave that out on the field like, Ogletree wiped out one of his explosives. The guard play wasn't great. McNeil's baptizing people. You got guys winning
Part
over
of
the
that,
left
Chris,
side
I
too.
think the Colts have had some struggles at O-line with their injuries. I think they have 3 young rookie O-linemen in, and like that's probably part of the reason.
I'm talking about guys getting beat
one
one-on-one though.
Right. Yeah. And but like what I think JT had like 35 yards rushing total, and like I've said before, like if you want to win with Anthony Richardson in there, some of the misses that he has in the passing game, like you need to establish your run game. You can't do that with those young linemen playing like that.
I don't know,
like,
man.
It's just not going to work.
I think if they just do the things that they're supposed to do yesterday, they're in the game. Like I'm just telling you, like the tight ends catch the ball. If the tight ends whip their head around when you're uncovered, if you don't have penalties, if you don't, like there were all types of sequences in this game where it's like the throwback is there. The handoff to the throwback, it's Pittman in the middle of the field. They can't even get the pitch back to the next play. Richardson is looking at his fucking wristband with Josh Downs in motion. They just seemed out of sort, and I can't put it all in the run game. I can't put it all on Richardson. They just didn't come to play. And so, like, for a team that's fighting for their lives in the wild card race, if this is your best shot, you ain't going anywhere. Now, the only thing that works in their favor is look at the rest of the schedule. Pull that up for me. They got a shot because of the schedule. But other than that, you watch this offense, it looks like explosive setback, and maybe the run game helps there, Bo. But a lot of these setbacks aren't just execution. I mean, they're within their pre-snap penalties, they're all types of things like just dumb.
They're shooting
shit.
themselves in the foot too much.
Totally, bro. And
Especially
for the love
a
of
team that
God,
is, like you said, fighting for a while.
can I keep cooking the Colts here for a second? For the love of God, it's 3-0, 3rd and 8. They give up 9 yards on a fucking draw. It's 7-6. You got 2 backers hanging out loosely in the A gap, if you want to call it that. You have 4 eyes on 3rd and 6 against the Detroit Lions in a big 3rd down in a game that's a 1-score game.
Yeah, they're tripping.
Like, you're not ready to play.
And then they were missing way too many tackles, bro. There's you're just leaving, like, their defense, they have players on their defense, and it's just, like, the simple stuff. If you swarm and you make tackles or you try to hold guys up, not saying that – like Jahmyr Gibbs is great, like Montgomery is great, but it's just, it's simple. Like missing tackles is missing tackles. And if you look back at the game and you see how many missed tackles and like arm tackles that there were, like these guys are better than that. Like Zaire Franklin and those like.
And they had some
backers.
moments. The backers had some moments.
Yeah.
Zaire had some moments.
No, he absolutely did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did. And then they have other moments. They look out of wax and they're like chasing after. I don't know.
My point is, it's just when you play a great team, you can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And they made a bunch of mistakes.
Yep.
So, like, you could say, hey, you got to be better here, personnel-wise. But that team is good enough to hang with teams. They're talented enough to hang with teams. The offensive line did not play well. They got their ass kicked some by the interior guys especially. But like this team, if it executes, is going to find themselves in a game with the Detroit Lions in the second half. They didn't execute.
Are they showing up on the grill at all?
So I
They're
don't
creeping.
want to. I had you go out.
Creeping towards it.
Yeah, they are creeping. They're galloping towards the grill.
And you know what you said? That made me think. Made me think a little bit.
Yeah.
Since they do have those new jerseys, maybe they should look into Daniel Jones. Maybe he'll feel comfortable in that Duke blue.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. I think
Vegas.
when I look at Anthony Richardson, I see a guy who can get you big chunk plays.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to keep the offense on track. If you can keep the offense on track, it's like, it's like goes shot to Vildor, and then you play with your food in the red zone. It goes circus throw and catch to Pittman, and then Granson can't turn around for the ball. It's like you have to be on every play to beat a team like that. You can't take plays off. And I don't mean from an effort standpoint. I just mean from an execution standpoint. And that's a compliment to Detroit, who did nothing special yesterday. They just played their game and wore these fucking guys out. And that's what Detroit's turned into, is like, hey, if you have 10 bad plays in a game, we're going to find you. And if you have them on offense, you're not going to be able to keep up. So Detroit's really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, Green Bay, guys. Speaking of the NFC North. I did not. I mean, I had it on the side TV, but understandably, and I was Chase Long was all over the Packers, and once it got in hand, I kind of looked away. So from what I saw, it's just Packers football. It's San Francisco being banged up. It's Packers being physical, having explosive playability. Romeo Doubs was great. He came out with a concussion, but before that, he was just making circus catches. I mean, Christian Watson dropped a damn easy touchdown.
He dropped a dime, dude. That was a dime from Jordan Love.
And
he dropped it. It's like, come on. They still blew the brakes off of him.
It felt like they ran him out of the building on purpose. And Matt LaFleur is not a mean guy. That's his friend on the other side, but it just feels like it feels like a little bit of like
it's about though. Come on. It was a little personal.
Like in a buddy way. Like, would you run the score up on me,
like
Beau?
Yeah. Relentlessly.
Yeah, I
would have
bet you
scored
would.
more than 38.
I bet you would have.
I don't even think he ran the score up. Like, they pulled Jacobs super early.
Very true.
It was just out of hand.
Wasn't he hurt
too?
Didn't he get dinged? Or they just
I think he went back into the locker room for cramps, but he was fine.
Cramps, yeah. Well,
he was running for 106 yards. I think he's the first. I saw somewhere he's the first running back to rush for over 100 yards against the Niners in like 60 games or something.
Yeah, well, that's going
to that defense doesn't.
It doesn't look.
They don't give up a lot of run plays.
It
doesn't.
And I think
they're missing.
I think those guys. I said it before. Those West Coast teams. I think it was a little cold for them. I think that's why Debo was dropping those passes. I think his hands were a little cold.
Well,
and
do we know the temp yesterday? Was it pretty chilly?
Bro, they have the sideline coach. They have the sideline coach.
Yeah.
The guys. So, and if that's a factor, that's not going to be good for them going to Buffalo next week.
Listen, I that would have been a month ago, like one of the games of the week. But it's just like San Francisco has cemented themselves as this. I don't mean this as like a huge dig, but like unserious. They're not contenders the way they're playing right now. And so like the injuries are definitely part of it, but that's what happens when a team plays as long as the team plays. Like this team has been in the postseason making Super Bowl runs for the better part of the last half decade and longer. Mm-hmm. And, like eventually part of the reason I wasn't bullish on them this year was like things fall apart. Like eventually you got to fade that team that keeps getting back on the horse. And, for New England to do it as long as they did it, for Kansas City to do it as long as they've done it, 10 wins consecutively all these years, it's really hard. And to make these deep runs, and then when you have wide receivers holding out, a wide receiver getting shot like in camp, like that's just a total thing. It's not on anybody's bingo card. And thank God he's okay and he looks like a good player and everything. But like you get Christian McCaffrey's got Achilles problems half the year. You save him up for late in the year to make that big post-bye week push, but then guys on defense are getting hurt. It's just shit show right now.
Yep.
And it begs the question, what does this group look like when they have to pay the quarterback and they can't be the Monstars everywhere else?
Right.
Like you can't just I was not impressed, and I have not been impressed with the way San Francisco's worked around their problems this year. And I know Shanahan's a great coach, but the guy on the other sideline yesterday had Malik Willis looking like a damn starter in the NFL, and they were able to morph into something totally different while that guy was gone. So in the words of, I forget who it was on Green Bay, but like, I don't want to hear about San Francisco being hurt.
I think it was McKinney.
Yeah,
after the game.
It was McKinney.
I think.
I don't want to hear about San Francisco being hurt. I know that Green Bay's a pretty good team, but I don't think San Francisco fans were expecting to get the doors blown off them like that. So that alone like tells me that there's some figuring out that they need to do, not only down the stretch this year, but in the offseason.
Yep.
And I like Brock Purdy.
And that's why I gave them my worst flight, because them getting on the flight, having to go all the way back to San Francisco, and then to think about they're going to have to get right back on the flight to fly all the way to Buffalo for next week. And that is not good. And then on the flight, I wonder if Moody is a petty guy. I would have been in Debo's face asking him, what's up with those drops, bro?
You've come around on this whole thing. What if Moody punched him in the face?
No, warranted. Yeah. It's time. Bullying works.
Moody steals off on star wide receiver.
Bullying works. You see what happens? The media all bullied Sirianni, and look, turned it around.
Bullying works.
Sometime it works, man.
That's a new slogan.
Make bullying great again.
Like,
to be honest,
come on. It starts with you.
If you do it the right way, like you don't have to be physical or malicious about stuff. If you could do it the right way.
Yeah. My worst flight is the San Francisco 49ers. It's just a terrible flight. It's a terrible flight.
Did they still this kind of merges into the next game, but the whole NFC West, do you think they still have a shot? The way they look now?
Pull up the damn standings so I can speak with authority on the map.
I'll tell you right now.
Because
it's the Seahawks 6-5, and then it's the Cardinals
6-5.
Seahawks are over the Cardinals, and then 5-6 Niners, and then 5-6 Rams. It's a bloodbath.
Enhance. They're never out of it. No one's out of it in this division. I remind you.
They don't look like they're built to win these like weird emotion. Like emotionally, they look like they're having a Super Bowl hangover from last year still in Week 12, and it's like, how is that even possible?
Which is what someone pointed out the Eagles had last year when they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. Last year they had that tough run where everyone was kind of questioning everything like that.
I know, but they've been to the Super Bowl before,
right?
It's not just there are things outside of it. It's not just the hangover.
But their superstars are not playing like superstars, man. Like Debo looks off. Christian McCaffrey obviously is injured and he's dealing with a lot. And
that's why there are windows. That's why they don't. It's not a garage door. It's a window. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a fucking window with like 4 panes, and when it's open, it's open. And then as guys get older in the NFL, like people's primes are only so long. Mm-hmm. Hall of Famers, absolute Hall of Famers, their primes, that's the difference between a good player, great player, and a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer does it his whole career because he just, for some reason, whether it's luck or skill, like just keeps doing it. And, certain guys are going to get older on this team. And, you're going to have to pay people that you can't pay. And all of a sudden it's like, damn, you look back and you say, we squandered it. And I hate that because I've been a big fan of this program, and they're not out of it though in the West, and that's the point. Like I told you, this reminds me of the year that remember the Beastquake? Who let the damn Seahawks? Who let the dogs out? Who let the Seahawks into the playoffs? Your boy and the Rams losing to Charlie Whitehurst. 7-9 made the playoffs. That we lost on a tie. We were both 7-9. We lost on a damn tie, bro, and we split the games with Seattle. How excruciating is that? But in retrospect, I'm glad because honestly, that would have sucked. We would have gotten our asses kicked by the Saints. Beastquake was destined. But the point is, in a year like this year, you can get in with 9 wins. You can be 9-8. It depends. I don't know. Like here, we'll go to the NFC West leaders here. Go
real fast? The 49ers have they go to Buffalo next week. Then they have the Bears and then the Rams both at home. The next 3.
This is the 49ers?
49ers, yeah.
All right, repeat this to me because
they go to the Bills.
L.
Then they got Bears, Rams, both at home.
I think they lose to the Bears, man.
They split.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The Dolphins is going to be interesting. Because, like, customarily, when they had Greenlaw, and does Greenlaw ever come back?
I don't know if it's gonna be back.
I don't think he's going to be back. So, like, customarily with the speed that they've had in the middle of the field, that's like an antidote for the Dolphins. But I don't know now. I mean, like, the Lions, for sure, they can't hang with these guys the way they're playing right now. So they got to do some quick work, because even though you look at this and you're like, well, 2 of these teams have losing records. 3 of these teams have losing records. You're going to play three games in a row, Bears, Rams, Dolphins. Those are all winnable. Those aren't pushover teams, dude. The way the Bears are playing right now, the Rams, period, that's a tough matchup for you. Dolphins are going to be a tough matchup. So let's get to the NFC West leaders.
Seattle Seahawks.
In the Seattle Seahawks.
And this is where we have our most random player from last week if we want to pick a
Let's
winner.
just pick it off the top.
All right, we got
This is the MRP for the Bradley Soul. I remember him.
yeah, that's what I got.
Deion Branch is a pretty good one, but it's a pretty good player too. Weaver, Ayupati, he did play. He played on both. That's really good, but he was a pretty good player. He's not too random to me.
Ayupati was a dog,
He
bro.
was a
I ended up
dog.
playing him like 5 or 6 times. He was a handful. He's one of those big punch poly dudes fucking coming down on double teams. You're like, oh, I gotta be ready today.
I had to fit counter and power against that guy for like half my
Yeah,
career.
the big boy.
It was awesome.
Yeah, big
It was awesome because you knew where he was going to be, and you were like, "What a test of my manhood." Can I just not give any but he was like a fucking wave. Freddie Jones,
my
that's
rookie
pretty good.
year, we played against him when in San Fran with Kaepernick. And dude, I remember him coming down those double teams with Frank Gore and just being like,
Dude,
You know
Alex
those guys
Boone.
making noise on those double teams.
Alex Boone,
Yeah, and
the whole
Alex
crew.
Boone too.
We got to pick one of these guys, huh? Let's just pick one of these guys. Dave Craig, but the guy.
A lot of Lofa Tatupus.
I like the Lofa Tatupu deal.
I think he had 2 picks against the
Seneca
Eagles.
Wallace, you win.
I like that.
Seneca Wallace.
Seneca Wallace.
Congrats, Tommy Fisherman.
Big Tom,
Big Tom. Tommy Fisherman.
Tommy Fish.
Down at the fish market in Seattle. Okay, listen. Cardinals didn't come to play, in my opinion.
Man.
The first
No.
possession, you got a guard who's not out of his stance. Leonard's stacking him up. You got Mafe unblocked. You're giving up another sack to Knight, who, by the way, we said this. The Seahawks need to fix their linebacking core. They have come close to doing that. And I think credit to Mike McDonald for not only
McDonald's a good coordinator, man.
not
Good
only
D coordinator. There's like 7 defenses of his in the NFL across different teams.
No, I know. He's a stud. But like from a personnel standpoint, as bad as they've messed some things up there, they have on the fly fixed this thing to a point where like they've stopped the bleeding, right? They bring in Ernest Jones, and then this rookie actually looks pretty good. He had a sack early in the game on like a 3-man game where he actually played out of it. He was supposed to be in the A. You had a wrapper, but he had gotten the guard, stood up and pushed him by, and just good instinct. But like
Tyrese Knight,
yeah, in this game, home field advantage felt real again for this team. Like it did.
Yeah.
Just watching the film, it felt real. And I want to give my STL memorial to one guy. You have a guess who I'm going to give it to, Bo? He's a Seattle Seahawk.
Leonard Williams.
You're fucking right.
Sure.
Nailed it.
I gotta say, we watch a lot of tape here. I don't know if somebody on the defensive line this year has been more dominant in a single game. There are guys that maybe have, but like the list is short.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams took over this game. He was absolutely, it was one of the best games of his career, and he's had a great career. A super underrated guy, great career. Love Leonard Williams. He was dominant. St. Francis Xavier, he baptized 30,000 people. I think Leonard did like he did about 25K yesterday. So he was running folks over left and right. It's one of the biggest, and red zone was a problem for them. 13-3, second down. Cardinals are in the red zone. They're driving. They got a chance to make this a one-score game. Basically puts the guard in Kyler's lap, forces him out of the pocket, chases this water bug down on the opposite side of the field on the 5-yard line. Like, these are plays that win you games, and this guy has taken it upon himself to take this game over. He deserves his flowers. That was awesome the way he played yesterday. Mafe played great. Hall played great. You know, that Marvin Harrison Jr. ball at the pylon that's this close. Who knows if Derek Hall isn't pulling the tackle into Kyler's face. So there's a lot of little hidden things that they did defensively, and Kyler didn't play well. Okay, he missed McBride in the end zone. Anything but that on 4th and 1. Anything but that on 4th and 1. It's a 5-yard punt to the house. And I think overall, like the thought process for McDonald, if I had to guess, was they played a little less man, a little more quarters, a little more cover 4. And in my mind, if you can make Kyler be patient, you're going to win. That's the one thing he has to work on in his
I think
game.
that's actually really smart to play that kind of defense against, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
Who's a fucking
Stud.
speedy freak. And then obviously Kyler is so mobile too. Play those zones, you don't have people's back turns. It kind of helps you.
You do not want to be
outside
in
the
man
pocket.
against him.
But then you have Trey McBride eating. I did not think Trey McBride was going to be. I know he's a stud. He's been quietly one of the better tight ends in the NFL. I don't know if he gets enough love, but that's why he ate. I think he had like 120 yards or something like that. Like he was the most potent part of Arizona Cardinals offense, which that just doesn't feel right to me personally. Like when you have so many playmakers, like James Conner also is not. He isn't playing as good as he could, and the Cardinals' run game has been a little bit anemic, especially this week. But the Seattle Seahawks won this defensively, which feels, like you said, Chris, home field advantage. That pick 6, Kyler definitely wants that back. Like, that was not a good play from him. That ball was – you can't float a ball like that in a close game. Like that's
and honestly, he could have made the throw. It just wasn't a great throw.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And to piggyback off what Beau was saying, like I just feel like they abandoned the run, and I don't know if that's because maybe
The front.
they earlier in the game they're like, hey, our guards and our center they're not holding their own, so we're not going to be able to get a run game going. But to have 7 they only gave Connor the ball 7 times for 8 yards. Like the games that you're winning, you see how many yards Connor has in catching the ball out of the backfield or running the ball, and I just feel like even if it's not working early, like you see sometimes like you have to just run the ball to maybe open up a little bit for that run game or some type of play action. But I think, like you said, they were just playing so well up front, Seattle, that they might have just shut off half of the offensive playbook calling for the game.
Well, that's a beautiful thing when you play in a stadium like that. And if I could be anybody in the world yesterday, I'd want to be Leonard Williams. I was always jealous of those rushers, watching Cliff and Mike Bennett with that crowd, and like when that place is rocking, dude, that's as good as anywhere to rush the passer. And to make big plays on defense, you could feel like they had that edge yesterday. And it's almost unrecognizable compared to the team you watched earlier this season. And a lot of it I do think is due to the backers. But I also think it's just a damn good D coordinator and now a head coach, like molding his group into what he wants them to be. And now you've got a chance down the stretch to win the damn thing. Here's the problem with the Seahawks offense. They can't run the ball. The offensive line is kind of cheeks. All right. In protection, in
both O-lines gave up 5 sacks.
The O-lines,
they got
in
some
this game,
playmakers though. I mean, they have DK and
No.
JSN is having a great season.
Yeah,
I understand all that, but if you can't run the ball, it's going to be hard. And if you can't protect Geno, this is what it came down to for me. And Geno wasn't perfect, but in the second half and at the end of the first half, beating the blitz. If you watch back at this game, that game is a stalemate. Before the half, they bring pressure. He hits JSN. He's down in the low red, so they're going to score before the half. And in the second half, I thought these 2 sequences were really key for the Seahawks and ultimately won them the game. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's 13-3. It's a 2-score game. They're backed up. You could force a punt on 3rd and 6 if you can get off the field and get the ball back with a few possessions to go in the game and probably at midfield. But instead, you bring pressure and he beats you. And then 3rd and 6 at the 23 with 9 minutes to go, he finds JSN. So they can't get him off the field there. They got him 1st and 20. They got him 3rd and 8. The play of the game for me was, again, and this wasn't even the blitz, it was just Geno beating a free runner. They ran a game. He's got a guy bearing down on him, breaks the pocket, 3rd and 8, just a fucking missile to DK in the middle of the field. That drive took like 7 minutes off the clock, if I'm not mistaken. And they kicked the field goal to put it up 2 scores. So 16-6 at that point. So in a game like that, if you can't get off the field, And if you can't run the football, to y'all's point, it's just going to be hard. I thought I would have seen better from the Cardinals, but this is maybe what you're – when some of us were bullish on Seattle before the season, this is what you thought. They got enough playmakers on offense. They got a damn good defensive coach coming out. I like some of the rushers. They got good cover guys outside that everybody forgets about. Witherspoon made an incredible play on 4th and 1. He's bearing down to try to make that play in the A-gap. He basically pushes off the tight end and goes and takes a perfect angle to the sideline to run down Kyler and force him to make that throw. The defense is coming together a little bit, and I hope it's not an aberration.
Before we move on from this game, I have a mention.
I do too.
Drip King of the Week.
Ooh.
It's actually going to be the Juicy Drop King of the Week. That's DK Metcalf. Listen, he's a candy guy. I'm a candy guy. He rolled into this game wearing a big-ass chain from Juicy Drop. I've had this candy before. It's a sticky, sugary mess. It's a good one to give for Luke for his birthday there, Chris.
Yeah, I want him to go
Juicy
to sleep
Drop.
eventually.
Yeah. Nah, you just feed him the Juicy Drop candy through an IV. He'll be bouncing off the walls like DK on game day. I thought that was kind of funny. I love candy. Got to give my boy a shout out for that. Juicy Drop, a little bit of a mid candy in my opinion. Kind of gimmicky, but it's tasty. Well, it's just like it's the application of it. All right, you're supposed to squeeze you got to squeeze the like juice from the Juicy Drop onto like a little sucker, and then you suck it out. That's a whole lot for me. I'm squeezing that shit right in my mouth.
Wow.
And just bite the sucker and eat it.
Wow.
Nice.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
What? That chain goes hard though.
And before we move on, my game ball obviously is going to Kobe Bryant. That pick 6 was electric.
Yeah.
And it was great for some bets I had. So
it was just a big personal.
Just
giving out a personal game ball.
Oh man, love it.
Thanks for getting my bets, brother.
Josh,
that in a game like that, that play right there. And honestly, this is what it used to feel like to go play Seattle.
Yeah,
low scoring games, perpetually overcast,
in one play,
cold. Defense making opportunistic plays, and you're in the game until the second half, and then one just absolute fuck up happens.
Then the stadium starts shaking.
The stadium starts shaking, and then you're you're in trouble. So
Josh in the trap. Josh in the chat asked if obviously the Cardinals are coming off a bye this week. They didn't look too great, but for you guys, was it noticeable when you played a team, whether good or bad, when they were coming off a bye? Were they sluggish? Did you notice more sluggishness, or some teams were just more sharp?
It could be that way. You know what we got a lot playing in the Edward Jones Dome? We got teams coming in like, damn, the lighting's fucked up. This team's doesn't have a great record. Like, I'm kind of half asleep. There were teams that would kind of sleepwalk in. To me, you got to be ready to play when you go to Seattle. Like, it's just the atmosphere in that stadium is insane. So I don't care if you had a mini bye, a 2-week break. Like, you better have your shit right when you walk in that stadium, and you should. That place is amazing to play football. I mean, like, it's just such a cool city to go visit once a year and play football.
And Seattle has won 6 straight over the Cardinals, 7 of the last 8. They play again in 2 weeks.
They got their number.
It should be another place that, thinking about it, they should probably start playing well after daylight savings.
Yeah.
It's getting dark early there. And then, like, when you travel and you go somewhere and you're just like, yo, what the hell? It's dark at 4
Dude, it's like
o'clock in the
perpetual,
afternoon.
it's perpetual fallback.
You don't think it affects you, but like it does affect you.
Yeah. Oh, it affects you.
In the afternoon when I look down at my clock and it's pitch black and it's 5:30, I'm just like, wait, what?
No question. Make bad decisions.
3 more hours till the game comes on.
I want to know who everyone thinks is going to come out of the NFC West. I'm thinking I'm kind of pulling for the Seahawks.
I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going Seahawks because I want to be smart. I want everybody to say, oh, that guy's smart.
I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, you probably don't get that a lot, do you?
No. Not a lot.
Rams, Kingston?
Not at home.
Nate. What you got, Nate?
Gino.
For the NFC West.
I like Gino.
Seahawks, too?
Yeah.
Cuckoo! Do you have that sound? The
Cardinal? Is that a Cardinal?
No, there's a hawk.
Oh.
Well, look at the schedules. Look at the Cardinals' remaining schedule. We looked at San Francisco's. It looks tough.
Cardinals go to Minnesota next weekend. That's
gonna be a good game.
Then they're back in Seattle.
Minnesota.
They play Seattle again.
Minnesota's got some problems on defense right now.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about them in a second. But Minnesota. Okay, you got you moving it all over the place, huh?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I pulled up the Rams schedule.
Yeah, it's not. Yep. Well, that's relevant. Okay, let's zoom in. Enhance. They got New Orleans, Buffalo, San Francisco, New York, Arizona, and Seattle. So no matter what, I feel like if the Rams want to win it, it's got to happen in division, right? And New Orleans and New York is a nice little gift for them down the stretch. Now, what's Seattle look like?
New Orleans is
New Orleans is not no
winning
cakewalk.
You guys are jumping out of the gym for
Rizzy.
They got that Riz.
I know
They've been Riz.
Seattle is
playing
playing tough
tough.
because 2 home games,
And then
they're
Taysom
against
Hill got
Packers and
pride.
Vikings.
Say again.
Uh,
The Rams D line will absolutely torch the.
Taysom?
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know about Taysom.
Yeah.
but it's gonna be hard to operate.
tough schedule for the Seahawks because their only 2 home games are versus Packers, versus Vikings.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Those are good teams.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to go to the Jets, to
Good
Arizona,
to get them at home though.
to the Bears, to the Rams. Anything is possible. I just need that win total to hit.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, I was about to say we need that sounder.
I need 2 more. That'd be a great sounder. I need 2 more wins out of you, Seattle Seahawks. And if
Someone in the chat said we need they're eating the cats.
yeah, we need that. We definitely need that. Put a pin in that. Okay.
The Commanders had hosted the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they were favored by 10 points, 10.5.
Yep.
And that was a rough one.
I think a lot of people are going to come out of this game talking about Cliff Kingsbury, and I totally agree. The idea I get watching him call plays is their script pretty good. Out of the half, pretty good. But as the game goes on, he just loses a grip on, situational awareness type things. You know what I mean? Feeling the flow of the game. And I think sometimes guys get predictable in that way where they just kind of go to what their game plan was and they don't adjust. And that pattern is no longer it's no longer a thing that people are whispering about. Casual fans know now that Cliff has this rep, and I thought he would have gotten over it by now. I thought he would have figured something out, and so fooled the hell out of me. But the main problem in this game is you give 12 points on special teams. That's the fucking and Bates fumbles, and you throw a pick on on a screen. Mm-hmm. You just don't do those things. Everybody's like, "What is wrong with Washington?" I just told you what's wrong with Chin blowing a coverage, not knowing he's got no safety help over the top. It's 5-6 plays in a game, and all of a sudden you're the hunted dude. Mm-hmm. Dallas is coming to Washington, and they've circled you, so you're not used to this. But now teams are going to look at you and I said this a couple weeks ago, Washington's become a barometer for if you beat them, it's not like beating a cupcake anymore. It's it was a good win, even though they haven't beaten anybody. But Dallas came in there like it was their Super Bowl, man. Mm-hmm. And they played their ass off. They played their ass off on defense, and Bland's back. So I think the biggest problem with this offense right now, honestly, if we're talking about things that they could fix, we don't need to be going Noah Brown on third down in key spots. And I got nothing against Noah Brown, but we talked about them around trade deadline, going out and getting somebody. They didn't. And, if he's not who? Noah Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played all right. I need him to play good.
I feel you. I feel like, I don't know.
We got sure-handed Zach Ertz out there. Why aren't we?
Wait, but is it not true that they're going at him too much in key situations? They're not even looking over there at Deron Bland's side. That's my problem is you got to have a number 2. You got to have a really good number 2. And I know you got Ertz, and I know you like McCaffrey and all that stuff. And I know Eckler's good out of the backfield. But to me, there have to be guys on this team not named Terry McLaurin that you can go to in crunch time to beat type coverage. They kept going at what's his name? Booker 31, the Cowboys corner. Yeah. They kept going at him. You should be able to win that matchup. You couldn't. So I don't want to oversimplify it, but just play better.
And McLaurin only had 4 catches for 16 yards before that deep shot.
Yeah.
Down at the end of the game.
Our guys are falling asleep out there. So
And it was the same problem for him last week too. He had a quiet game.
yeah.
McLaurin.
And so that's what you start to figure out as you play a team like this. If you can take McLaurin away,
Yeah.
it becomes a lot harder.
Other guys
And-
definitely have to step up. Other wide receivers.
No question. And also, they're down tackles.
Yeah.
Like Coleman went down early in this game, and I know Lucas has come in before, but Wiley's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot of people are like, it's a mystery. How did they lose this game? I don't know. Dallas has still got some horses on defense, and when the corner comes back, things change a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you give up 12
Plus,
points, on
Dallas is
special
good when they're not at home.
right? Exactly, Nate.
They just need to get on the road.
There was a great shot yesterday of Jerry Jones in the box getting hit with sunlight from the
Sunglasses on.
Commanders Stadium.
Yeah,
That's
sun's everywhere.
He had sunglasses on, didn't
Yeah.
he?
but that's why I said
Yeah.
my mention for this. I have two, but my first one is best flight is going to Dallas. I mean, they really, really needed a win, and I think this is a great win for them because they're probably going to lose at home
You think?
next week.
What a relief for them. I mean, like that's a mercy win. That's like a mercy flight where it's like, bro, just give me a little space for a week to not be in the dumps. You know what I mean? And all their problems are still the same. Like the
And-
defense is going to be better with another guy back in the secondary, but
And to win the way they did is just like a game that you're like, oh, we let this slip out of our hands.
almost did.
Like we literally almost let this slip out of our hands, but to win that way, and then you got Jaden Daniels bringing stars out. They got Jay-Z at the game.
Yeah.
Des Bryant and all these other people there to see a big game that usually
Could have been
probably
us.
wouldn't
We
be.
could have been there.
Could have been us.
You know,
What-
It was Josh Butler there.
I got to
Josh
mention.
Butler.
I got to mention for this game too, guys. Hollow Man.
Oh,
We didn't
no,
even
Did
really
you take
get
mine?
into that.
Did you take my
The
kicker.
end
hollow?
of this game.
The kicker.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seabird.
okay. Go ahead.
I mean,
Cybert, Austin Cybert.
I'm waiting to see who your
Cyber.
man is.
You're giving it to Cyber?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's only the guy that
mean,
missed
yeah,
the
you
extra
missed-
point that kept him out of
missed the
overtime.
extra-
and he
a
missed
field
2
goal
extra
and
points
another extra
and
point.
and a field goal.
Missed 2 extra points
Which-
and a field goal, and it's like he's coming off an injury. You try to hold a little compassion in your heart for that, but it's a fucking extra.
And if you're Dan Quinn,
that's it.
after you missed a field goal and an extra point already, do you not just say, "Hey, let's
That
go for the
ex-
win"?
the
here?
I
last one?
understand. I understand. I hate that. Usually, it's so easy to go hindsight on that
Yeah,
thing. Like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
make an extra point. You're
Okay.
a pro
Yeah.
kicker, and if he's not able to make an extra point, you know he's hurt. He shouldn't be kicking for
Right.
you.
My hollow man
Yeah.
is going to Tyler Ott. Who is that, you say? It's never good when you have to look up a long snapper's name,
Yeah, it was
guys.
bad.
Snapper.
It was a bad snap.
Yeah.
And that
It wasn't
is-
that bad though, Nate.
yes,
wasn't
it
that
was. Yes,
Shout out Tress Way, he got that ball
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Got him right.
But
Holder
it's
got
a,
it right.
It's a bad snap. And the reason why I didn't give it to Cyber is because after the game, when he was asked about the bad snap and if it affected his kick, he said, absolutely not. I need to make the kick, which I think is absolutely tremendous that he did say that. But the reality of it is you have to get that simple snap. That whole operation has to be
I would
better.
imagine. I would
Scary
imagine.
Terry's got to get up in their faces on the sideline. Nate.
Right. He's got to punch
Bro,
somebody.
Bro.
Why doesn't he
It's like
punch
2 for
somebody?
1.
Bro,
All
all these
here, punch here.
Joker kicker.
all these guys, all
No
these
problem,
guys
guy.
need to be punched, bro.
Not Chris Boswell.
Oh yeah, not
Nobody's
Boz.
punching Boswell.
Not Boz.
But I just think for the Commanders, like, they're one of these teams where we all buy the hype. Like, I think Jaden Daniels is going to be amazing. I think he's done some amazing things this year. And I thought they were set up better than we thought they were going to be set up.
He's
But
going to finish
as
second in Rookie of the Year. It's going to be great.
As who's going to finish first?
Bo Nix, baby.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But the problem is,
Guess who said that?
as the year goes on, people start getting a beat on you. I mean, your scheme for sure. And then things like, hey, we don't have pluses at certain positions, and we've kind of been getting by. And as there's more tape on guys, like, people start to figure out. And I think defense has been nothing short of amazing. Dan Quinn's done a great job. They've also won games some zany ways with the Hail Marys, and you don't have
Yo.
9 lives.
There was
It's not sustainable.
41 points in the
fourth
fourth
quarter,
quarter.
dude.
of this
Nuts.
game, bro.
If you had the
Someone in the
under,
chat
If you had
said
the
that.
under and you were
but the point is they're ahead.
Drunkest game of the week award, and that's this game right here.
But
Like, this shit was.
the Bob Huggins Award. No. We were just talking about that yesterday. His daughter, he got a DUI, and there were like 40 cans in the passenger seat, and the daughter was like, he likes to collect cans.
love that.
So here's the problem with the Commanders. The Commanders are victims of their own success a little bit. You know, this team was not supposed to be where they are, and I think they played well enough through the season, and they earned it. They earned a reputation of a team that's good. It's just not always going to be this easy. And, you know, Jaden got hit a couple weeks ago. I don't think he looked right for a week or two. I think the offense doesn't look great. I think the offense looks predictable. I'm coming around on that Cliff thing. Like, maybe it's just not going to change. Yeah. They just have they are closer than we thought they'd be at this point, and I think they're a victim of that because when they lose a game like this, they're like, "How do you lose to the Cowboys?" Well, I just told you, you played bad.
Yeah.
You know, and that'll do it. If the Eagles give up 12 points on special teams, and 2 turnovers that are just avoidable, and you blow a coverage, you're gonna lose. The Lions could lose that way.
You want to know what's sick about this game?
Yeah.
I had, for some reason, because I thought the Cowboys were just going to be terrible, I had 2 Washington defensive touchdowns. And, bruh, they almost scored on a block kick, and they almost scored on a block punt.
Oh, that would have been incredible. You would have been riding high today. That would have been amazing.
Man.
That would have been
and
amazing.
It's crazy to think that they blocked a kick and a punt, and they still lost.
No, that's nuts. I mean, the game was drunk. The game was totally drunk.
What? Super drunk.
Are you worried at all about Washington's playoff chances? You know, a couple weeks ago they were battling the Eagles for tops in the NFC East, and now they're holding on to that wild card spot barely with the Cardinals right behind them.
Do they need 10 wins, in your opinion?
No.
Would 9 do it?
9's probably going to do
Then
it.
they'll get in. I think they're going to win 2 more games. I think they could win 2, maybe 3 more games.
They've got Tennessee at home next week. Then they've got their bye in Week 14. Then they go to New Orleans. Week 16 is in Philly. Week 17 is in Washington against Atlanta, and then they go to Dallas to finish the
Week
season.
16, we going to go?
I can't make
Gonna
any
be close,
commitments. I might be
Were they
playing.
at 6?
Oh, we might be going to watch you
We'll go,
play.
Nate. We'll go. Yeah, we'll go.
I think
If
I
4
think
more
I'm
people
watching
get hurt, I might
the
be
Eagles.
playing.
Yeah.
Because I looked at the list that Bleeding Green put out. There's just a bunch of 38 and 37-year-olds.
Hey.
You know, there's a bunch of guys on the couch. So here's the point. The point is, if you're a Commanders fan, just keep the big picture in mind. And also, if you're parsing through these rookie quarterbacks, we're about to talk about Chicago. Look how much better, and Caleb has done good things this year anyways, but look how much more under control he looks and confident the last couple weeks because the offense is being run correctly. And Bo Nix, who I think is going to be a really good quarterback in this league, right?
Yeah, Bo.
If he's with Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
But if Cliff Kingsbury is all of a sudden figured out, what do you think the offense is going to look like?
Right.
So the point is, context matters with all these QBs. I don't care who it is, bro. And so these rookies, who you pair them with is important.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it kind of ebbing and flowing that way. It's like we thought Bo Nix was going to be like kind of a check down merchant, and
Now he's slinging it between
and now
the
he
hashes.
he
Piss
really
missiles.
is.
Whoever said
Piss
that,
missiles.
he's selling check D's.
Check these.
Jeez.
Check these. Well, let's check these on Minnesota Chicago, a game that I got to be honest, other than a few spectacular
watched a lot of those.
Caleb throws, I didn't watch.
Oh, my God.
There were
I
Bro.
got a lot of this game.
Let me tell
I
you
mean,
something.
dude, Caleb Williams was great.
He was awesome.
good.
He was awesome.
He had that ball on the sideline to DeAndre Swift. He kind of lifted up both of his heels and threw it, and it looked really awkward, but it floated
like
in there right
top
over
3 throws of the
Cashman.
year. That was
It was
insane.
a great throw. But before that, too, he had some really good balls to Keenan Allen. Dude, the Bears, I mean, their defense wasn't that great. Their offense looked good and in rhythm. Caleb was dishing it. He was mobile. He was jumping over dudes that were on the ground on a 4th and 3 or 4th and 4 in the fourth quarter. Converted that. He looked mobile. Dude, the score was 27-16 with 1 minute and 47 seconds left. and they got it to overtime. They did kind of shit the bed in overtime.
He did take a tough sack.
That was that to me.
Yeah.
That was
sack
the
in
worst,
overtime was terrible.
bro. One of the worst sacks I
That was-
ever seen.
But
But
they're
for
not in
9
that
seconds.
situation without him. I just want to be fair to the kid. Well, what are we saying? Because like it was a terrible sack. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, but we're talking about we're not talking about the Bears like a Super Bowl team. What we're doing is we're talking about the Bears in their future.
Yeah.
And I like
I'm
Thomas
wanting to see improvement each week.
And to me, if you're a Bears fan, you should be over the moon excited about what you've seen from this quarterback. Seriously, because I point this out before. He's been teased. He's been bullied. Right, bullying works. He's been the media has been on him. Hey, listen, we've had our gripes, but we try to keep it fair. There are people that are unfair about this kid, and he honestly, to me, and I'll let you take it away on this breakdown, Bo. But like I said this to Nolan yesterday, watching him throw a couple of these balls over the middle of the field and work the intermediate areas of the field. Yeah. You want him to be Patrick Mahomes? Build it like this Chiefs version. Build it like the Chiefs now. Build it like a team that can run the football and can convert and stay on schedule, because you will not be able to get this kid off the field. Seriously, if you want him to be the Tyreek Hill Mahomes, be my guest. I don't know what the ceiling is on that. I think it's a chance to take. I haven't seen that part of his game, pan out the way maybe you thought it would, like the big explosives down the field. But this kid can kill you with 10, 15-yard chunks over the middle of the field. And we knew that coming in the Minnesota game, they're going to have trouble there.
Yeah, but I just think for
Yeah, well,
the
look-
regular fans, it's just hard. Like, I think everything you're saying is right, but like while they're losing, no one wants to. You just feel
You don't want to hear, but
Bears
I
are
understand
just
what you're
figuring
saying.
out ways
Yeah.
to lose late. Like
But-
they and it's despite some really good young quarterback play, man. He played good. He wasn't the reason they lost.
No.
And I mean, it's just like the more interesting thing to me is, the Vikings are 9-2. I'd put them in, top 5 in the NFL in terms of teams. And the NFC North is really good, and they gutted out a big win.
that.
And this is actually my best flight is the Vikings. Like overtime win against a division rival. You have a short flight. You're back home in 45 minutes. Best flight is the Vikings, but it's like, did the Vikings play bad? I don't think they played bad. I don't think their defense played up to the standard of that B Flow wants from them. They were pretty leaky in the past game. The Bears didn't really get much going on the ground. Like they can definitely make more big plays defensively, which is what they've been doing earlier in the season with turnovers, takeaways, sacks, stuff like that. I think the Bears just played pretty well. And so the Vikings came out on top of this. To me, this is just like a couple things. Like the Vikings shouldn't have allowed it to get so close. Like it shouldn't have gone to overtime. It shouldn't have been anything like that. But like the Bears played well and they looked to be pretty good, man. Like I was very impressed with Caleb Williams.
Oh, my bad.
back to
Will
the Vikings
Conway.
offensively.
Can I do
go
my? I'm a mention guy. Can I do my Bevel Conway bow?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Love
the
it.
Bears uniform. The Bears uniform,
late in the
gorgeous.
season outside, the Bears look good.
Oh, that's incredible. It's just a thing of beauty. Wear that all the
At
time.
Soldier Field too.
Oh,
It
gorgeous.
looks yeah,
Go ahead.
it
Sorry.
looks good. Thing I loved is Addison had an unbelievable game. 162 yards, 1 touchdown. Like J. Jeff was pretty quiet. I think he had 2 receptions, like 30 yards or something like that. But when he's gonna be covered, he's gonna be the focal point of every single defense every single week because he is that guy. He is a fucking electric player. So for Addison to turn out like that was great. And then Hawk as well. Like he's been battling injury. He's coming back. He had 114 yards. He looked really good as a guy for Darnold. I thought Darnold played well too, man. I mean, he was 22 for 34, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had like an ankle injury. Mullins came in for a series, I think, and then Darnold came back.
Mullen was
He looked like a little banged up, but like he was gritty, man. Like I think the Vikings played well and
Yeah.
beat the Bears, and the Bears just can't figure out how to win these games.
Well, it's almost like the coach has a really bad record in division and in general.
He
Like
is the Eberflus is 5-18 in 1-score games, 2-12 in the NFC North. Man, that's tough.
so it's like the kiss of death. You're going to play a close game in the NFC North. You're going to lose it every time. And so, like, we know what the future looks like. The future looks like this kid at quarterback and however you build around him. And hopefully I'm telling you, if they can go out and get Ben Johnson, I know that some people are like, oh, it just doesn't work that way. Okay. Well, I think if I'm Ben Johnson, compare that to what he thought he was walking into last year when they were like, take all my money in Carolina. Like, there's not enough money in the world that would have made him take that job. I think Ben's smart, and I think he's going to jump at the right opportunity. I got to tell you, if this is the opportunity in the offseason, I'm jumping at this opportunity because you got a young quarterback, you have some talent, you have some defensive pieces and
they need to get their O-line shored up too, I think, for the Bears.
Which I think you can shore up through the draft, and that's where you build an offensive line. Like, you've got an opportunity that you also have a GM in Poles and Ian Yates Cunningham, who played the position. Ian did. Like, I think they're going to know how to stack that offensive line. To this point, it hasn't worked out, but I think if you give them another year, maybe they can get it right. I'm bullish on the quarterback. I really am. Like,
yeah,
I really am.
Too.
Yeah.
For the Vikings,
I had one more mention for this game. Sorry. Worst seat is like, there was a weird situation in this Vikes Bears game right before overtime where you're like, as a viewer, you're stoked. You're like, oh, okay, we got overtime. I can't believe the Bears scored whatever to even it up. We got overtime. And then there was a period of like 10 minutes because someone on the sideline just collapsed, and it was the chain gang guy. So the worst
non-contact
chain gang, chain gang, and like the boom mic professionals this year are getting manhandled every week. Someone has just a grotesque injury. I think Saquon trucks someone during the Sunday Night Football game. Mike Tirico is calling Sunday Night Football with a torn Achilles. These chain gang members are getting carted off the field. The guy for the Bears Vikings game went into the blue tent for like 10 minutes, and then they had to pull someone like out of the locker room to do it. And it was a whole fiasco. So that's my worst seat, man. Chain gang and sideline boom mic operators were just getting decimated out there, man.
Maybe we should suit them up.
There might be some.
Like, maybe we should put equipment on people. You know how in baseball, everybody in the dugout's in a uniform.
Yeah, like they should be like managers.
You gotta.
No, they need like
It's a great
armor though.
idea.
They need like chainmail armor, not like pads. Like those guys are 80 years old.
we should put them in those. Yes,
The mall
wrap.
cops, like they have those like how the mall cops are basically like they're like heads emerging from like these two-wheeled machines, like RoboCop.
Yeah,
You're like robo sideline guys. Anything but actual robots. But let's make these people as close to robots as we possibly can.
Two things to check on for the Vikings. Cam Robinson did go down with an injury.
And Pace too, right?
Robinson and Pace. O'Connell was positive on Robinson. He said it was the same foot. We'll see how he is. But it was interesting because the Chiefs just picked up DJ Humphries. There's not a lot of tackle help outside of that because Quessenberry did come in and let up pressure after pressure.
That was a tough one. I mean, it really underscores how important it was to get Robinson in, and so hopefully you can keep him healthy. But the other guy is like Mullins coming in just for a second in a big spot in a game. Again, a reminder that Kevin O'Connell is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I mean, he's gotten Josh Dobbs ready when he got off the plane, didn't know the cadence. I mean, he's teaching him shit on the sideline in real time. Like, he can get somebody ready to play in a moment's notice, and in this game, that turned out to be a big deal in a game that comes down to a field goal. So, just
Mullins
really well-coached team.
Had a 14-yard completion to Aaron Jones, I think.
Well-coached team, a team that's not well-coached. Team that was picked to go far because they were greatest show on turf, great defense, the whole thing, and a team that was honestly an afterthought in Minnesota. And look where they are, dude. I mean, this is not fluky.
They're in a good spot.
They're in a really good spot.
The NFC North is like completely opposite of the NFC West. I feel like we're
no question.
You have a clear division leader, but then I still think the Bears are pretty good, man. Like they can beat teams like.
They can.
You have the Packers are playing well. The Vikings are playing great. I think everyone in Minnesota is kind of reserving.
Great talent, not a good team. I think they have potential.
The Bears?
Yeah.
The Bears can beat teams late in the season.
Offensive line's not great. And honestly, the biggest thing is they found ways to lose. So
real fast before we head to the next game, if the Bears had won this game, would that have quieted any of the hot seat questions to Matt Eberflus? Would that have slowed anything down?
I think it's one of those things where it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Like some things you're like, what would it take for us to retain this guy, and it's not one win.
Yeah.
You know, we're pretty far down the road on this thing, and especially with a young quarterback like this. It affirms you got something here. Let's not fuck it up. You got to be aggressive in running down solutions. You can't wait a year. You can't. And it's the same thing in Washington. If the offense struggles down the stretch here, all options are on the table in the offseason. You cannot waste years with these damn good young quarterbacks. So, speaking of wasting years with damn good young quarterbacks, I want to talk about the guy that I might have given a game ball on the day if it wasn't for Stout. Maybe I'll give a second game ball out.
That's my STL
to Bryce
Memorial,
Young, dude.
Hold on a minute, player. Yeah, whoa.
That's my STL Memorial.
That's
Are we
your
all? Are we all?
That's my STL Memorial winner, Bryce Young for the Panthers. Played really well against the Chiefs. Got him.
You guys do it. I'll take the breakdown off.
263 yards,
I
one
think
touchdown.
you can give unlimited game balls.
I think what was so cool about it, just consider this, dude. Like it's an 11 point line.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing quite possibly the best defensive coordinator in the league, who's going to blitz you, who's going to see if they can man you up, and early and often. It looked like Bryce Young had done this 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know if something clicked in him or he's got a big game gene where it had to be a David against Goliath thing for him to play like this. And he's showed us little I've seen these flashes, which is why I've never wanted to say, like, give up on the kid. You know, last year you watched that Green Bay game. I felt like there were some moments in that game where I'm like, damn, he's a pro quarterback. And you watch him in this game, and I'm like, this is not fluky. If it's fluky, it's got, like, you do not see teams shred Kansas City like this, period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He was shredding them in the passing game at different points. I mean, at the end of the half, if it weren't for the red zone, him and Mahomes went toe-to-toe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he put the ball on Tommy Tremble at the end of the half. It's like you can go into the half in a ball game with these guys. To go to the half where Spags makes adjustments and come out and play even better. I mean, he made some throws against the blitz in this game that were jaw-dropping, that were just they were incredible. Throws to Moore. I mean, like, I'm losing track. I had a bunch of them written down, but, like, you get the idea. If you watch this game, you saw something out there it's hard to deny, which this kid is a pro quarterback. Now, can he repeat this performance? I don't know, but it sure makes it a lot easier to get up here and say all this after you play the Chiefs. Had this happened against the Panthers in an inter-squad scrimmage, we're all saying, yeah, but. That was the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, on the other side of things, I think the Chiefs have some problems on defense because I think part of the reason Spags brings so much damn pressure is because he's not sure if the rushers can get home. And so, like, in a game like this, just really revealing for two organizations right here where it's like, I don't want to panic if I'm the Chiefs, but they've had some guys out, right? Watson?
Yep.
Right, Watson.
Yeah,
Watson's been out. That's a big deal. But also the guys that leave in free agency. Eventually, those things, you got Najee Johnson out there. People are going to take shots at him.
Yeah.
Cook had some problems in the slot. Like, there were just issues with this defense that you're not used to seeing. And I'll be damned, the guy exposing them is the little guy that got benched 6 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just so impressed with him. The 4th and 3 to Thielen was incredible. At the end of the third quarter, the very last throw he makes is one of the best throws I saw all day. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to Bryce Young, not only for doing this in a vacuum, because it's not just doing it in a vacuum, it's also doing it with all the mental anguish that comes with being a high pick and a Carolina Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And being benched early this season, all that shit. This was an amazing – this is as close – you won 3 games. You lost – I know it feels like you lost 1 game, but you might as well feel like you won 3 games yesterday if you're the Carolina Panthers, you're Panthers fans, because you might have something. Like, really, you might have something. The way this kid looked was really good. I don't want to jump out of the gym too much, but he was good.
He was blitzed on 38% of his dropbacks and was 11 of 13 for 135 yards and a touchdown.
I can't wait till we sit up here in these shows and say, everybody knows you can't blitz Bryce Young. I hope this is the beginning of it, but here's the problem with the Kansas City defense. 8 explosives yesterday, 9 last week. I said it last week coming out of the Bills game. I don't like the Bills matchup in the playoffs as much because of the additions to the Bills and subtractions of the Chiefs. This is it might be a like a bug. You know, sometimes a bug will go through a side of the ball and like you just play bad for a month, and maybe that's what's going on, and they'll stabilize. But there are some matchup problems outside.
Yeah, I also wonder if, like, looking back at the explosives in this game, like you mentioned, Najee Johnson playing the most ball of his career, Chamari Connor in an increased role this year. Brian Cook went down during the season last year. He hasn't played as much with those guys.
No.
I think that's part of it too. Obviously, Snead gone. You mentioned the Watson injury.
Communication.
These guys
Willie
haven't played
Gay.
together that much, right? Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot of little things that happen to a defense that you're like, what happened to that defense?
Right.
And when you're on defense, it is hard to work around issues. If you got a bad guard, you slide to him, you help him. You know, if you got a wide receiver who can't catch the football, well, he's going to be doing cardio. But like on defense, when you got a corner that's a problem, they're going to test you.
Yeah.
When you got guys that haven't worked together, there's communication issues. They're going to be explosives. And more than anything, like when you man up and you got the Panthers beating you routinely, like you got some problems. And I'm not saying these are things that are going to keep them from getting where they want to go, but maybe. You know, the Panthers were only the third team in the Andy Reid era since 2013, including playoffs, to score on 75+% of their drives against the Chiefs. The only team to win such a game was Tom Brady's Patriots in Week 6, 2018, a shootout won by New England, 43-40. So the point is, if they'd have figured things out in the red zone, it's a big if. But like Kansas City's going home upset by the Panthers. So like flying close to the sun, it's kind of like Patrick Mahomes said, is like, I'd like to win some blowouts. And he's kind of joking, I figure, but like a lot of truth is said in jest. Like, okay, we know we can win close games now. Let's not have to do this all the time. Now, the saving grace for Kansas City is they're stacking enough wins up where they're going to get home field advantage, probably, and they're going to have to take a week off. There's going to be a bye. Teams like this that play close games a lot and win them, you don't want to have to go the long way to the playoffs, especially not on the road. At least they have that going for them. But I do, and now the improvements, I'll be positive, okay? It's great to have Hopkins with the game on the line with a minute left, right? Because if you punt the ball back to Carolina, I don't know the way they're playing. If you get to overtime, a minute left, you go to him in a key situation. I thought Kelsey looked good at times. I thought Noah Gray was great. You know, I think the tackle position is a dumpster fire, right? Clowney and Wanham are getting after these dudes. Mahomes is able to overcome this, you know, most drives. Like they scored on most of their drives, like for the whole game. But then the first time they punted, it took 2 consecutive flags on Jawan Taylor to get punt 1, and then another sack, you know, in the next possession, you give Carolina the ball back. Here's the saving grace. DJ Humphreys, who used to be in Arizona for a long time. He's actually a vet now. I played against him when I was at the end of my career, so he's been around a long time. Solid player. Maybe he can come in and stop the bleeding. But it's like whoever they line up out there, and it's a hard job to block at tackle for Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing. It's like, you know, you call your parents at home. You're like, I'm going to block for Patrick Mahomes. Well, buckle up, son, because you don't know where that dude's going to be. And so it is a hard job, but we're talking about basic shit. We're talking about no-hitters. We're talking about guys just not even getting hands on guys. And when a guy like Mitchell Schwartz, who played there a long time, is calling it by name, he's like, hey, Jawan Taylor is easy to run games on because his set is the same set every damn time. They're just not doing a great job at tackle. And so tackle play's not great. You're starting to see some holes in the defense. You know, that's cause for concern. And Pacheco's coming back. That's a positive. Tip of the cap to Kareem Hunt. You know, off the couch. If they don't have him this year, I don't know how many games they've lost. So
we'd be turning up the grill heat. Maybe
we're not. We never going to turn up the grill on the Chiefs. I got the utmost respect for the Chiefs. I got the utmost respect for Patrick Mahomes. These guys are going to be in it. It's like last year. You had to work around drops. You had to work around the tackle play. You didn't have to work around problems on defense. And so I worry a little bit about, hey, what if the defense goes on a skid?
And how does Kansas City how are their kickers just not missing kicks? And how they got a backup kicker making kicks, making
Spencer Schrader.
Man, I
Like-
good on that kid, right?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
With a season full of people missing kicks.
But that just goes to show you, man, like a good kicker, man, you can have whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like as much as it would pain me to give a kicker the bag, I'd be like, here you go. Whatever you want.
You have to.
You can have your own offense.
Points are important.
Yeah, dude. No, but I'm saying, look how many of these games this year come down to kicks.
Yeah.
And since they moved the extra point back, look how many games come
And
down to extra points.
that's more what I'm saying is why can't Kansas City get unlucky and miss a damn game winner? Because I thought
gods favor him.
the football gods. I thought maybe that was gonna happen.
Somebody in the chat made a good point. Omenahu's what? How far off?
Yeah, he's getting close too. I think both him and Pacheco should be.
And so an Omenahu addition to the defense, maybe you're a little less aggressive by Spag standards, and maybe you're able to manufacture a little bit more pass rush with the front.
Maybe you need to go there and get a few buckets.
Dog, I only come out of retirement at 39 for one organization.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
What happened? He's showing him something.
No, Charles Omenahu, right?
Yeah.
Did we say?
I think
Oh,
we said that.
Yeah,
okay.
we said Omenahu.
Then
I
it
just
said
call him
me.
by his last name.
No. I thought it was.
You know what I'm saying? There's enough guys in the league that I just call people by their last names. Seriously, there's just a lot of motherfuckers. Fans of teams will be like, "You got my guy's name wrong." I'm like, and now multiply your knowledge of the game by 32. Like, it's hard to keep up with all these jokers, man. But Omenahu's a damn good rusher and somebody who came up big for them last year. And so if they can get him back, maybe better. And I am not writing an obituary for the Chiefs because they eked a close game out against a team that was an 11-point dog. I just was shocked at how it happened. Like if it were a thing where it's 16-13, you got a bunch of drops, tackle plays poor. Well, you've overcome that before. But this is a different era, right? If the defense isn't going to be the same defense as last year, and you got to outscore people, but you're down Brown, you're down Rice, you're down Pacheco right now, and Mahomes hadn't played his best ball this year, it's just going to be harder to stick the landing. Not saying they can't do it. It's fucking Andy Reid. It's fucking Patrick Mahomes.
Shout out Noah Gray. 4 catches, 4 targets, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, long of 35.
Nice.
Seems like Travis Kelce has taught him well.
Well, it's also exciting because, like, he's going to be your guy in the future.
Exactly.
It's like I don't know how long Travis wants to play, but, it ain't 10 years.
Right. Tennessee and Houston.
Bro,
Little Will Levis.
did anybody watch this game?
A little bit.
I watched this game.
No.
Okay, Bo, this was the most electric game on the slate. It was
Crazy.
it was awesome, dude. It was up and down. It was Will Levis at his best.
Pick sixes.
I mean, he was really good for a long time. Like he was 10 of 10 or 11 of 11 through a first half that he got sacked 8 times. and it had me thinking, maybe if you're Will Levis, playing a team like Houston who will sack the fuck out of you before you can make a big mistake is like actually a good thing. You want to play the Texans because they're going to sack you and you're not going to get a chance to throw the ball backwards.
And we got a new meme from him.
What was it?
The head down,
Head down running.
running.
I didn't see that.
After the pick, after he throws,
I didn't see that.
After he throws a pick, he does like this head down, like run, like he's acting like,
Like
he's
he
gonna
just
catch.
sprints to the
And then-
pylon to head him off.
Dude,
To head
Jared
the
Verse
up.
was running full speed. I got to commend Jared Verse for hustling after Saquon Barkley late in that game because he wasn't going to catch him. No, we're looking. Go ahead.
Will Levis was just nervous that Brian Callahan was going to come at him with what the fuck are you doing?
question. But honestly, though, yesterday he put a lot of things together. In that first half, he did some really good things. Some of the throws on the run and the whole thing. But the main thing I want to come away from this game and say is you are not supposed to lose a game at home when you run the opening kickoff back into the red zone. You score in the first play. You sack the opposing quarterback like 9 times. You get a pick 6.
Yeah.
Like, how do you lose that game? Well, I'll tell you how you lose it. Against a team, by the way, whose secondary is all backups. All backups. You can't even take advantage of that because Stroud is under siege. He is under siege, and you're running the ball right at one of the better defensive tackle tandems in the league, right? Already. Sweat's putting some good tape out there, and Simmons is Simmons. But they are, look at Will Levis running with his head down. That's hilarious. All right. Now, it's a shame. And it also reinforces the point that we made a few minutes ago, is that context matters. Last year when the scheme was working and CJ wasn't, getting obliterated, he looked like the next Joe Montana, and I still think he's got, that rare ability in him. I'm not putting him with Joe Montana, but you know what I'm saying. They have done everything in their power this year to stunt the kid's development. I mean, his eyes are on the rush. And like you could say, hey, keep your eyes downfield. But after 12 games of it, it's a survival tactic to know who's falling at your feet, to know who's not picking up a game.
Yeah.
Nico Collins has 2 touchdowns in a week called back on dumb penalties. One of them yesterday is in legal motion, Mixon and the receiver in motion at the same time. And like they knew it right away. And you just see it on CJ Stroud's face on the sideline. He's just numb right now. There's so many things going on bad on this offense that you have to look at the coordinator, man. And I don't think they have their bye yet. Have they had their bye? Texans. But the point is, like, they have to huddle up
next week.
Yeah. So they haven't
play
had their
Jacksonville,
bye.
then they have a bye.
And I know he's tight with the quarterback coach, right? I know there's other guys that are in the building and call plays, right? Like, did we look at that as Bill Lazor is there? He's called some plays in the NFL before. But they have to have a conversation about the play calling, because the play calling is not good. And I've seen teams work around worse offensive lines. There are some decent players, guys who have played good ball in the past on this offensive line, but they're not playing together. And they're doing unsound shit. They're pulling Shaq Mason to pick up an edge guy who's screaming off the edge. He's tiptoeing. He doesn't know what he's doing. You've given up a sack to Devondre Sweat. The guy hadn't had a sack since Jesus was a baby. And you're giving up a sack to that guy. He's 380 pounds. How do you give up a sack to a 400-pound guy late in the down?
That's hate.
It's just no, but I'm saying,
big man.
I'm just illustrating
I know.
for a second that like it is broken offensively for this group. And yeah, they don't have Stephon Diggs. And yeah, they've had some injuries along the way. And yeah, it's year 2, and you get the regression to the mean a little bit with a great quarterback as rookie. But none of that explains what I'm seeing on tape.
Yeah.
It is gross negligence right now. And yeah, 8 and 9 could probably do it in this division. But like, get busy winning, man. Build some momentum. Figure some shit out. Simmons wrecked the game. He wrecked it late. He finished that way. And Levis was really good. I just got to say, Titans offense deserves some credit. Levis, the run he went on in the first half was really good, something you can build on. And Pollard had a big day, had to carry the load. Spears is out. They killed him with gap scheme. I mean, it was just in the first half, at times, it was like a clinic. So
Pollard's quietly having a really good season, 800 yards.
And people doubted that. People doubted that signing, the effectiveness of bringing him in as like an every down back. I just want to give out a best seat before we move on from this game. Best seat, anybody who listens to Ross Tucker. I know we talk a lot about, and I hope Ross Tucker hears this so he can get his flowers, but we see you, bro. We hear you. If you awesome. Watch ball and you pay attention to ball, there's going to be at least 10 to 15 times in a game, if Ross Tucker's doing the game as a color analyst, where you're like, yeah, I remember that last week. It's just like when the guy from the Titans, 44 Brown, lays off a receiver in the end zone, and he's like, yeah, last week that happened. He's gunshot because he got called for unnecessary roughness against the Vikings. Like,
said that right
he
away.
Just threads the needles. Like, before you can get the thought out, he knows it. And obviously played a long time. But we talk a lot about color analysts in this game. We talk about Tom Brady. We talk about Greg Olsen. I put him up there with those guys. If Ross Tucker was a damn Hall of Fame quarterback, they'd be giving him $500 million to call games. He's that guy. I love Ross Tucker.
Nice.
So STL memorial to my dog, Ross Tucker.
I got to mention Auntie Bevel is going to C.J. Stroud doing the Dan Orlowski.
Oh, he did at the end of the game.
Out of the back of the end zone. Should never happen as a quarterback.
That's
right?
how drunk yesterday was that like people were like didn't even notice that.
It's like, obviously I played high school. I mean, I played high school quarterback, but like you would think, obviously, like as a quarterback and in your mind, like you never want to do that. But when it just happens, is that just like you just like tired of being hit or just trying to make a play?
His wasn't quite as bad because he took a step out of bounds and then got tackled, but still it's so he got saved a little bit.
It's like that's the one thing, when you're backed up as a quarterback is
you're not supposed to run backwards.
Yeah, I can't go backwards.
But again, that just goes to show you, like, I think it's just all his instincts are gone right now and he's second guessing them because of I've seen this before, dude, and I saw it with Sam Bradford where people say, hey, Sam was rookie of the year. Like, Sam was damn good his rookie year. Okay? The thing that changed for Sam is he just kept getting hit in the fucking knees, bro, and he got hurt. Obviously, it hadn't happened to CJ, and I hope it doesn't. But the point is, like, eventually, mentally, when you are hit the way this guy's been hit, the timing. Think about reps. Think of how important your reps are, right? To build a skill set, to get better, Bo. Like, imagine if I can't think of the parallel for a defensive tackle, but like if things are just chaos every play and like you want to be sound, like I can't
You're
go
just
through
out there
my
swimming, man.
yeah I can't
You're
go through my
not calm,
progressions. What
building.
progressions?
Yeah.
My progression is catch the snap and then look at who's gonna hit me in the face, dude. Like, so
CJ Stroud's gotten sacked 17 times in 4 games. I mean, you said it, and dude, it's not Texans O-line is like. There's some quality players in there. I played with Shaq Mason. I think he's a great guard for real. But I think
Tunsil?
like them having Jackson, yeah,
Titus Howard, who played really well
them
last
having
year.
Jacksonville and then a late bye week, like that's so big for them, especially with their division. And as much as we're lamenting their poor play, it's because we expect a ton out of CJ Stroud because he was that guy last year,
and because
it's
he is
because
that
they're
guy.
still
that
in
guy.
it in the AFC South. Like they're still the best team in that.
But in it for what? Like for the Ravens or the Steelers to come just blast them in the playoff?
No, because here's the thing about
It's a whole new
season. It's a whole. I'm just telling you, if they got their shit together up front, they could beat the Ravens. They could beat the Steelers. I'm just the defense. Now the secondary had some busts too yesterday, and they got guys down and everything. So I'm not just going to make it about Tennessee's got guys down and all that. But I'll just say this, and this is the shame of it. In this division, you should be competing for home field advantage. Now, you're not going to compete with the Chiefs, but like any given year, a quarterback like this with receivers like that, with a running back that they added like Joe Mixon, with ends like they have, with the speed at backers, with the ball hawking guys in the secondary, they should be competing to at least have a home game. And, they're going to have a home game if they win the damn division, but they should be working on having 2. And when you play them in Houston, that defense is like this much faster. Now, they weren't fast enough yesterday, but I really do believe if they get their shit together, if they could drop 2 interior offensive linemen like Terminator style out of the sky, and all of a sudden like you just got 2 guards, and they could be league average guards. Or maybe it's the coordinator. Maybe it's the scheme, and maybe they go to look how much different Chicago looked when they just made the turn to Thomas Brown, whose resume was Bryce Young's rookie year.
Or Buffalo last year with a hot shot young OC that flamed out.
Look at how Ken Dorsey changed things for, like leaving and Joe Brady coming in. Like, so the point is there's hope for this team, but when they go in the bye week, they got to lock the doors. They got to lock the doors for 3 days, get a coffee, get a bunch of coffees, and nobody have hurt feelings, and some people might walk out of there and never come back. But they have to have hard conversations, or they are wasting a year of this kid's prime. And worse yet, they're wasting a window that they have aggressively run down. They have aggressively run this window down, adding pieces. That defense is fucking fun to watch. They added people on offense. They need to lock the doors during the bye week and figure it out. And it's a shame they've had to wait so long. Yeah.
I see someone in the chat, Chris, saying Hunter with 10.5 sacks. I mean, you talk about that defense. We talk about edge rushers, D linemen a lot on here because that's us. Dude, he's
the werewolf.
Unbelievable. I feel like every year he has double-digit sacks, and everyone's just kind of used to it. You know what I mean? Everyone's just sleeping on him. Every year he's just producing.
Still drives a Nissan. Otherwise, you probably would never hear about him, or you'd hear about him left and right. Like honestly, it's – every year I put in a little bet for Hunter to win DPOY, and at some point it's going to cash. Yeah. Maybe it's not this year, but he's the type of guy who can go for 6 sacks in 2 weeks like that. And who's the league leader right now? Still Trey Hendrickson? Like, this is low-key a year where in the beginning of the season people start out hot, and then all of a sudden, like, you're like, oh, the list of guys with double digits at this point in the year is actually not as big as we thought.
Xavier McKinney could still win it, though. Another pick last night.
Yeah.
Hunter's also leading the league in TFLs right now, too.
Dude, if he goes on a tear at the end of the season, like he should be in the conversation.
He had
He's a
three.
perfect fit for that defense, man.
Had 3 yesterday,
Perfect.
2 the week before. He's going to get one of those hat trick
Hat-trick.
hats from
Oh,
us.
we gotta give him a hat trick hat. You
Yeah.
gotta check the
Yeah.
Let me be like Vanna White here.
Yeah.
Just his hat trick. It's got green light logo on it, which obviously is the first thing you're thinking about when you get 3 sacks. Is that, man, I hope one of these shows up in my locker, but we're gonna send him one. Because Will Anderson's already worn the green light lid voluntarily when we won AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yep.
So, anyways, I feel for Texans fans because you had a lot of hope to start the season, and you should have, because this team, people had high hopes for this team. I had high hope. I still do. But they got to
There's
get
still
some shit
hope.
together.
They
So.
just got to figure it out over the next 2 weeks.
Look at what Kansas City did last year. I'm not saying they're Kansas City, but what I'm saying is, like, people left them for dead. They had so many problems. You're like, there's no way they could fix them. Now, of course, Andy Reid's the guy calling the plays, and Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. So
Let's
Bondaruski.
let's
That's another commercial I can't do. I'm tired of that.
Bondaruski.
It's also what Luke comes up and shouts when we watch.
Oh, he does.
games.
Yeah.
Bondaruski-doo. I mean,
does.
Andy Reid is kind of charismatic on the.
Oh, super charismatic.
Yeah.
He hits
I
this
wanna
chicken
see,
nugget
like,
with
a
the fingers.
making of, yeah, like he's into it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you're one of the best coaches of all time. Like, there's no need for you to go this hard.
No, he's doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job. I'm looking for a sound. I don't have one.
Let's hit these flyovers and we'll provide you with the sound. Denver and Las Vegas. The first
I
time.
wonder Cowboys was so hyped about this one.
The
2
first
more
time.
wins.
The first time since the Raiders moved to Las Vegas that we got a win in Vegas, and the first time since 2015 that we won on the road against the Raiders.
It just looked like dumb shit kept the Raiders in the game early, like a fake
Yeah.
punt. And
Stupid.
there's just a bunch of other stuff that, to me, it was like, come on, Broncos. They're good enough now where they can make mistakes in the first half and kind of be like, all right, let's wake up.
Yeah. And
Like, that's a good thing.
And that's exactly what they did. Hopefully Riley Moss, right after the game, it was not deemed to be his knee injury was not deemed to be season-ending or significant. So hopefully he's back. Maybe after the Browns game. We've got a bye after the Browns game next week. So hopefully he gets some rest. But Bo Nix, we were talking about earlier, tossing some piss missiles over the middle of the field, dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
Guess what?
Cowboy,
Straight
he's
piss
the-
My
missiles.
birthday is on December
rookie.
14th,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 more wins will be December 15th,
Mm-hmm.
and I am going to be MGM gonna have to pay me my money early.
Oh, you're like the person that's like, hey, can I get my paycheck a little bit early this month? You're gonna do that to MGM?
To MGM.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
But I was laughing with Matt, and I said, wouldn't it be diabolical if they started giving me a cash out after I already won the bet, if I have to wait until the playoffs start?
That would be
Offer-
diabolical.
offer me
Take
the
the money now. Honestly, can they do that?
I
They
don't-
should.
They can.
They should.
Because honestly, that could, a lot of people would cash out
Give me a cash out for $1,800
for, like, yeah,
instead of $2,000.
a little bit less.
That would be diabolical if they
Yeah,
did that.
but you know what? Like, MGM wouldn't do that because they're not diabolical. It's a fair book. It's a fair book. So,
Cowboy, Bo Nix is the franchise rookie. He's the leader for touchdowns.
Yeah, he passed. Put it in
Elway?
the nope.
well, that's interesting. A
Pax?
rookie.
He's got 16, right?
Yep.
Okay, who was the who would have been?
It was in the 70s.
Oh,
Hold on.
never mind.
Yeah, Paxton Lynch.
And then I actually had a mention from this game as well. For my fly on the wall, I saw this clip on Twitter. Really wanted to know what was said, but Bo Nix and Wilson had a little bit of a conversation. Bo Nix looked absolutely appalled, and the ref came in screaming
Kyrie?
in really hot and
Was
the ref
like,
looked
no,
like,
no.
dude,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, I
wonder what he
really want
said.
to know, like, mic'd up,
He
like,
said-
what did this motherfucker
Something
say?
foul
Great
when
mind.
the ref
Yeah.
comes
Great,
in.
Yeah.
great minds think alike.
And
Bo.
Bo Nix was like,
Yeah,
too.
his eyes
Yeah.
look like furious. Like, don't you
Yeah.
freaking say that?
Oh, I thought when I saw a freeze frame of it, I thought he was like mocking him, like, "Oh yeah."
No, it was
No,
more
he-
like he said
No,
something.
He
that
said
that
something
triggered him.
foul.
He said something that
Yeah.
triggered him, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Did they play each
That's
other
like
in
the
college?
Lost
Texas
Miles.
Tech and
Miles. Like, I want to know what these people are
I don't
saying.
know. I
you
don't
might
know if he
be
played him
extra-
at Oregon. He might have played him at Auburn.
Maybe they're Eskimo bros.
What would you say to Bo next?
Maybe they're Eskimo bros.
Let's
and,
not do this.
he knows
The
something.
Eskimo bro thing or the what would you
What
say
do you
to Bo
think he
next?
said?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to. Yeah,
No, I have ideas.
but why would?
Marlon Briscoe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Marlon
I don't know
Briscoe.
What he said.
Oh, the
He-
quarterback.
yep, he broke Marlon Briscoe's record from 1968, 14 touchdown passes.
Which had to in '68 to do that.
Great name.
Ridiculous. Great name.
'68.
Might have to get a Marlon Briscoe jersey.
Briscoe.
No, I mean, listen. I think it's just like Sean Payton knows what he's doing. Shocker.
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 Gave a hefty pat to Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Dap up.
I think that was a
Little pat.
respect thing.
Very respectful.
I think it was a respect thing,
Yep.
bro. I think it was a big respect thing.
We need to find a running game somewhere along the way. Javonte Williams.
That'd be nice.
You know,
Let's do the weekly schedule check on the Broncos.
we've got the Browns.
All right, let's
the-
go with Nate. Let's go serious win-loss here. Browns at home
Win.
at
Close.
night,
Close win.
Monday night.
Browns.
Win. At
J-Boo.
home. Close.
J-Boo
close
on
win.
Monday night. Nah, Browns.
I don't think the Browns can block these guys.
I know.
I don't think
I
the
think
Browns
Myles
can block
Garrett is
these
getting
guys.
a 3-piece. I think he's getting a sick little hat from the
Yeah.
boys.
He
Browns
might
are
get a
gonna win out.
3-piece, but it might be in a loss. Okay, so then they get the bye where they're like, let's fix all the things that aren't broken because we're the Broncos. We're so good right now.
And then they're gonna curb stomp because they're the best horses in the league.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta win
Oh,
that game.
Okay, so you have them 2-0.
That's
Okay.
it. That's
Then
all.
they-
That's,
they
and then-
play
and
at
then-
the- they
and
play
then
at
they're
the
dead to me.
Chargers. They
No,
play-
then they're dead to me.
Oh, then they,
Stop right there.
you just cut them off.
right there.
record scratch.
Okay, so
But for all the real Broncos fans, Week 16 we play at the Chargers. Week 17 it's at Cincinnati. Week 18
you got to really
Kansas
root
City.
for the Chiefs. Seriously, because obviously if the Chiefs are playing for something, that's a tough one.
I know.
But if they're not playing for something, you might see. I don't even know who Mahomes' backup is this year. Is it
Carson
Carson
Wentz.
Wentz? God, I forgot. I was making this whole. I made this
Yeah.
whole like Miami needs to trade for Carson Wentz thing when Tua got hurt. Speaking of that,
And they do not. He looked awesome yesterday. I
Yeah.
swear to God, like no troll.
no Tua, I know,
He looked so good.
bro. He looked so good since he got back from his concussion.
Yeah.
Told you that.
And
Knocked some sense into him.
but
Rookie of the year.
no, honestly,
Shit free.
you know me.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the guy's that good, but he's looked really good.
Yeah.
Now, the question again is like Miami do this against somebody
How about Green Bay on Thursday?
that to
18 degrees.
me and Tua said it. He's like, I love killing narratives. This is his favorite thing to do. It's one of his hobbies. He's always doing it. Thursday night, he's going to play in the cold. Now, there's all these statistics that'll tell you that he's not that good in the cold. We'll see. I think this Green Bay Miami game is going to be a lot of fun.
Hey,
a lot of fun.
And
But
Chop Robinson coming along.
Chop Robinson looked really good.
flying around.
I think one of the most encouraging things about this team is the way the defense has come along, like, and been able to like keep them in it. That can be discouraging when your offense all of a sudden scoring 10 points a game during the quarterback's hiatus. But listen, you said it. He looked really good
And
yesterday.
they made the Patriots look bad.
Yeah.
right? I mean, the Patriots had a disastrous offensive day. They were in third and long over and over and over, but it was because of what the Dolphins were doing, and they still got a shot at the playoffs. I can't wait for that game Thursday.
So if you're talking about shot at the playoffs, I kind of went through this. Playoffs. The AFC wild card is tough.
It's just they need Denver or like LA Chargers to lose a lot, which feels
They need
a
the
little
LA
unlikely.
Chargers to lose a lot.
They need well, pull it up. Pull up the wild card because as we saw, Denver's got some tough games ahead of them, right? And I'm looking at the enhance.
They're a game and a half back of Denver currently because they've played one less.
So you've got the Chargers, the Ravens, the Broncos. Two things you also have to worry about are, I hate to bring it up, I mean, you never know with the Bengals, but the Colts have a soft schedule. That's why I didn't put them on the grill today because they have a really soft schedule the rest of the way.
I think they're just creeping towards the grill, though.
There are two very interesting things that could happen, and people are going to get really upset. You're going to get all triggered. They're going to get mad. They're going to talk about me in the chat. But the Ravens could miss the playoffs, dude. The Chiefs could win the
playoff.
I'm just telling you, I don't think they're going to.
Ravens
See
are
what
cooked,
happens.
huh?
See what happens.
Ravens are cooked, Chris. Wow.
You guys suck so much
Crazy that
ass.
you'd say
You think the
that.
brother? You think?
It's absolutely.
No, they could.
It is absolutely.
I'm just
true.
bringing up a fucking point, and my 12-year-old co-host can you pull up their schedule,
So
please?
that means if that were to happen, it starts tonight. That means they would lose tonight.
No, what I'm saying is if you lose this game,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the Eagles next week. You could be 7-6 in a hurry.
Oh,
So I'm not saying. Listen, they're favored tonight, and I think it's probably a game that I would lean Baltimore. I really would.
I like the Chargers.
But I don't lean Baltimore when they play the Eagles. And then you get the Giants, and you get the Steelers, and you get the Texans and the Browns. As we've seen, the AFC North is never easy, and the Texans could fix some shit. So, like, I listen, Lamar's Superman. When we say that the Ravens could miss the playoffs, we're not saying Lamar is going to implode. What we're saying is they played poor enough as a team and on defense this year that we shouldn't be holding them to, in some regard, that a hypothetical like this is just off the table or disrespectful. Like, I just feel like there's this aura around Baltimore where if you say anything other than sucking their you-know-whats, their fans get super upset. Your team leads the league in penalties. Your team has not been able to put the fire out on defense. So all I'm saying is as good as Lamar can play, and he's played like an MVP, there is the possibility that you slide. So Miami's looking at that. I think the Chargers, when you look at their stretch down the stretch, like, they're all of a sudden you look up and they're one of the best teams in the AFC. Like, so the AFC wild card race is a little bit of a shit show. And anything can happen, including Miami getting in, including Indy getting in, including Baltimore missing the bus, including the damn Chiefs going backwards a little bit down the stretch here and actually having to play for the division in some ways next time. I'm just saying the AFC is going to be fun as hell down the stretch. So let's check the chat to see if everybody's upset. Everybody's upset. No, they're not. You guys are usually a lot more sensitive.
Someone in the chat said there's an overcast over Baltimore. Their fans know it and are lashing out.
They've been lashing out for a year, man. They got mad at me last year when I said Kansas City had maybe the best team in the AFC. What did they do? They won the Super Bowl? So
Something like that.
My point is, you can't just because there's a logo on your helmet expect that all of a sudden, like, and because you got an MVP level quarterback, there are other things involved in Derrick Henry. There are other things involved besides that, and like you got to figure some things out defensively. The penalties have to stop. You know, tonight's going to be a damn good game. I cannot.
What do you got for a score tonight, Chris?
Damn, you guys are just skipping that Tampa Giants game like we don't even care.
No, we're going to. It's just Tampa Giants. Tampa's a professional organization, bro. Like they might not be great, but like they came to play, Bo. They came to play.
Mike Evans is back. That's big. I didn't catch as much of this game as I wanted to because it got out of hand quickly. But the Giants is just like, what do you play for at that point? Like, is there a more miserable team to be a part of right now than the Giants? There's a lot of chatter. People are saying, who is it, Malik, or is it Neighbors that said they're soft? Everyone's playing shitty. And like, I just feel like the Bucs really manhandle him, man. Bucky Irving is sick. Baker's celebration I thought was hilarious. I also love like the energy he brought. You recovered that fumble that no one else really saw down in the low red zone.
That was
Baker.
wild.
You see him hustling on that Bucky Irving play to catch a block like 40 yards downfield, and then he does a crazy celebration when he scored on that scramble. Like, Bucs are good, man. They're probably, I don't think their record right now is indicative of how dangerous they are as a team. I think they might take the South. I mean, if the Falcons continue to play the way that
I think they do. Man, we left them for dead when both those receivers got hurt. It felt like the whole floor fell out. But like, Atlanta's unserious, dude.
Dude, I love how much you've been saying that lately.
We're at that time in the year where it's like, are you serious or are you not? And like, Atlanta's not a serious outfit right now, in my opinion, because of the way the team was built. And like the Bucks, while they have had like some moments and they got beat by Atlanta twice, that doesn't mean they can't win the damn division.
Plus 260.
I think they have a pretty easy schedule, remaining schedule too. The
Yeah.
Bucks. I'd have to look at it closely, but
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Pull it up. That's part of it for sure.
we got
The thing that they have to
Cowboys,
over,
Panthers, Saints.
what they have to overcome is they've already
Raiders,
lost
Panthers.
twice to the Falcons.
I know,
So,
but
They've got to
look,
jump.
they're going to go to the Panthers, or you got to beat one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then you're going to play the Raiders, who just lost Gardner Minshew.
But-
so you get to play Ritter. You're used to playing Ritter.
Yeah, another one of the best quarterbacks.
Yep, for sure. Who the cover ended on him getting sacked.
Yeah.
Yesterday. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. The Chargers game is going to be tough. Cowboys game's
Yeah.
not going to be easy with that defense, right? But the Panthers and Saints, if you win the games you're supposed to win, now look at Atlanta. Pull them up.
Yeah, they got a tough stretch.
Pull Atlanta up. Pull them up. Atlanta, you guys too. You guys get sensitive about this shit. I'm just calling it how I see it. What have you done this year that makes this rant disrespectful towards your team?
they beat the Birds on Monday Night Football, Chris.
When the Birds look like a totally different team in September. Okay, you got the Chargers, the Vikings, okay, the Raiders, Giants, those should be wins. You got the Commanders and the Panthers. So this could come down to like you said, it could come down to the damn the record and go Atlanta's way, but they have to handle their business. And right now they are not like even handle. I worry about them beating teams they're supposed to beat. The way they've looked lately.
Now, if like that Washington game, especially if Washington's fighting for a spot in the playoff, that one will be tough for the Falcons.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it might come down to
head to head.
head-to-head.
Which obviously Atlanta's owned. It
Yeah.
has the best division.
Goes
record.
back to that OT game in Week 5.
But the point is, it's an inconsequential division.
Yeah.
So we're arguing about something that probably at the end of the season is not a big deal. Although, I don't know, the Bucks get in the playoffs. It's kind of scary. With
No question.
they scare me more than Atlanta if they get in the playoffs. I guess I'm putting it that way.
Especially Vita, the way he played yesterday.
Yeah.
Dude, you see Vita
Your
dog roll
Minnesota
that
Green
center?
Bay.
Oh, my God.
Lance?
John
That was
Michael
sick.
Schmitz was on his booty cakes.
John Michael
Yeah,
Schmitz.
that was a great play.
John
then they brought in
Michael
Vita on the goal line too. It was
Yeah. For that, literally, I think that fumble play.
I
He
was
was in front of Sean Tucker.
It was,
So they're gonna ask me. They're gonna ask us what they think about the game tonight. Do we want to get to that, or
Yes.
Do we do Drip King or
No,
we already
let's
got
hear
Drip
it.
King? We had
Let's
the
hear
candy
it.
necklace. We had
Let's
viral-
hear about the game tonight.
Yo,
and then
I'm
we'll
a
get to-
pro at mentions. I got all my mentions in, baby.
Dog. You're like the
Way to be, Bo.
Bryce Young of
Way to
mentions.
beat, baby.
Yeah. Let me give myself a shout out. Game ball.
Game ball Bo Allen with his great background, good audio, just great performance.
Yeah. I'm on the road.
Shout out Sam.
I kind of got like I
Shout
can't
out
figure
Sam
I can't
Nevada.
figure this game out tonight. I'm gonna bet it anyways. I'll figure it out by 8:00. But I just
I'm going 24-18 Chargers.
yeah, I think it's an under, dude. I do think it's an under. I think it's an under because do you remember how Buffalo looked when they played Baltimore? Like I know that was like a totally different deal. It's at Baltimore at night
Yeah.
and all that, and they had some guys hurt. But like, I like Lab McConkey, but the Chargers don't have a bunch of impressive separators,
Right.
and so like you could see this game being a situation where Herbert has some trouble. You got to remember
And
the
Lad,
thing that we have fresh in our minds is a shootout against the Bengals. The Bengals haven't stopped anybody all year, right? Okay, weeks prior. The Chargers kind of like eke out of the gate. They're kind of like slow out of the gate. They're not scoring a lot by half. Like you can end up in a situation in this game where it's a little bit lower scoring. I feel better about that than a side.
yep. And Lad,
Both teams are going to run the ball, control the clock. I think the Chargers are going to have more success running the ball than people are anticipating. I like their runs.
So then how?
I think they're good.
Just
I was going to say Roquan Smith has not practiced this week.
that's a big deal.
questionable. Travis
Yeah.
Jones questionable as
That's
well.
a big deal. So all of a
Yep.
sudden, when you wake up tomorrow, if the Chargers win this game and they're talking about it on a first take, are you going to agree with them then?
I
They
think
can
Chargers
talk about the
win.
Baltimore maybe not making the playoffs. Everybody gonna because Stephen A. Smith says it. Or are you gonna be like, yep, I said it today, and everybody.
He has better takes than you, though, Chris.
I know he does, but some people in the room were looking at me like I had a dick on my forehead. You know,
Lad did pop up on the injury report today too. shoulder, but he's expected to play.
Lad McConkey.
And he's got to play because if he doesn't play, it's for sure an under.
He doesn't play. Who else is going to play?
Which brother is older?
Johnson.
Out of who?
The brothers, the coaches.
Oh, you know what's funny? Jim has classic younger brother energy.
Yes.
He is the younger brother, is he not?
I'm pretty certain.
John is older by 15 months.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
John's got older brother energy.
Yes.
Oh.
Jim's got younger brother.
Healed.
Yeah.
Then Jim's
they're
like,
almost, damn, they're almost Irish twins. That's crazy.
Just about, yeah.
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 Wow. That's what's up.
So, Nate, what's your pick? Because you're the Harbaugh Bowl guy.
Who I think is going to win?
Yeah. You've been on this thing since the beginning of the season. I want to give you the honors.
And I think it's.
I was expecting more juice from Nate on this.
No, but I think that the reins are going to get handed over, and I think the Chargers are going to take this game because everyone just expects the Ravens to always win. And I think when we, as fans, get like that, that's when they lose. And I feel like it's no different for today, but you know, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, and if he decides today that he wants to be great, then I think he will be.
And who's your first touchdown score on BetMGM tonight?
And
Dog, I told you about Turpin last week.
yeah, no, you did.
I bet it.
You did.
How'd that go?
Great.
What was the odds?
Long.
Long. Chris Long. Long odds.
Look out for a Disley
40 to
touchdown.
1.
Yo, so that was going to be my other tight ends always open, but I have tonight I have Isaiah Likely, first touchdown scorer.
Yeah, I like
Remember,
that.
if he doesn't score the first touchdown, ends up scoring the second, then you get your money back. And if you're degenerate like me, you could pick for both sides. And then, like Chris just said, Disley is another great choice on the other side to pick first touchdown. Then if you pick
I
two,
like Johnston.
then
Oh,
if you
yeah.
pick two, then if they score the second touchdown, you maybe get your money back for another bet. Remember, BetMGM.
I got one for you. Pat Ricard.
Oh, it's the best, bro. It's the best.
I got a little
It
Pat
is.
Ricard.
I low key.
100
Scott
to
Matlock.
1.
I low
Touchdown.
Scott
Bro,
Matlock. And
Not
Pat
first
Ricard.
touchdown. Not first touchdown. Do a
Anytime.
parlay with the two fullback.
Anytime. Both of them.
Anytime touchdown. What's an anytime touchdown, Pat Ricard?
Probably more like 30 to 1.
Bro, he's one of my favorite people to bet. I low key throw $5 on him every game.
Got to. Well, here's the
Because-
deal.
just
They're
because
playing
they do
Greg
that-
Roman.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. We haven't even talked about this. Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator. You don't think he's singing like a fucking like Jennifer Lopez over there, dude?
Pat
telling
Ricard
them
plus
everything.
2,000.
You guys forgot Jennifer Lopez was a singer, huh?
No.
My name is Jennifer Lopez. I like
It's easy to forget
burritos.
sometimes that she's famous for being a singer.
Jenny
But
from
she is.
from the block.
No, I know.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm just Jenny from the block.
But
Used
Greg
to have
Roman-
a little, now I have a lot.
Greg Roman knows the whole operation.
And we talked about BetMGM a minute ago.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
we'll do it again.
Yeah, we should totally do it again.
Yeah. As we finish with our remaining BetMGM moments, thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans, I want you to picture something. You bet your favorite player his first touchdown score, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone, and you lost your bet, right?
Wrong.
With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first touchdown score bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting. Bro, it just, while I was reading that ad read, in my head pictures, I saw a game with Roquan Smith not playing, and it's ugly.
Oh,
Bet Chargers?
Chargers.
If Roquan Smith doesn't play,
And that's where it's leaning. Adam Schefter tweeted out earlier that
how about Chargers and
He's
the
questioned.
Chargers in the under? I know some people don't think teasers hit. They do. You just don't know what to. You're just not doing them right. I'm just telling you. That's like telling Andy Reid a shovel pass in the red zone doesn't work. Okay, this is the tease god you're talking to. Maybe Chargers and the under.
Facts. Do you have a viral moment of the week this week?
I do have a viral moment, and I hope it doesn't piss Bo off because it is going to Jason Kelsey with a beautiful at a tailgate, just a walk-off Beirut pong shot, just money.
Who was it?
Jason.
Kelsey?
Yeah.
What isn't he doing?
Yeah,
Dude, he
no.
was in App State.
yeah.
He was in Boone for the JMU App State game. Wearing a fucking App State.
Rooting for App State.
Yeah, asshole.
What the hell?
But yeah,
What
this
the
video
hell?
this video was great. This video,
Best line of the show.
What the
Tanner, you need to talk more.
Hell?
What the hell? Go ahead.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
We-
We trampled all over your viral moment of the week.
Kelsey, they hate on you in here, man.
No, we don't.
I try to get something off. And Bo's taking shots at you earlier.
And what am I
and
doing?
You're doing too much. I mean, I try to bring you up at the end of the show, and Chris is just walking all over it.
Elbows.
We almost-
Like,
Kelsey's a
dang,
notorious
man.
cheater at all.
Did y'all see that Kelsey's the second best podcaster in his own house?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Kylie's got a podcast now.
Shout out.
No, shout out, dude. Shout out.
Come on the pod sometime, Kai.
Yeah, seriously, we should
Great.
get her.
Kylie shows up every day. Oh, I thought that was.
Oh, yeah, that's so funny. I forgot about that, Bo, when they thought you were a woman. Nothing wrong with that.
Doppelganger.
Those big lacrosse shoulders.
Hey, hey, chat, we love you. We really do. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I think it's one of the best holidays, maybe the best holiday.
Chris, I'm thankful for you, brother.
I'm thankful for you guys. I fucking love you guys. In the word of Chad Johnson, I fucking love you guys, man. We played football together, and now we're doing this.
Amazing.
Bro, we used to have to grind it out in individual period. We complain about our jobs and
Very,
the
very.
coaches and like now we're all together and the guys behind the camera. Thank y'all, man. Tanner, Matt, Nolan, Cowboy, the whole gang, dude. Ralph, who's out there in space.
What up, Ralph?
Aiden.
Thanks to the chat
And the
Thanks
chat,
to
the listeners.
This doesn't.
I'm not
this
thankful
doesn't
for the chat.
happen.
I love y'all, man.
I love the chat. Love
That
you guys.
makes me fear for humanity a little bit.
No way, and it's only gonna get crazier. You can't not like the chat now. As
The
we
chat
grow,
does
as-
make me
scared
fear
now.
for humanity, dude.
As we grow, we're gonna get crazier
disturbs
people
me
in the
at
chat.
I know, dude. At one point,
This is just the surface.
I'm gonna look back and be like, man, I miss those days when
Exactly.
it was just a
That's
bunch of
what I'm
Ravens
saying.
fans complaining or people talking about my collar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I walked out here the other day. I'm like,
Your
what the
collar,
fuck
yeah.
am I doing for a living, bro? Like, I'm watching people complain about the clothes I'm wearing. Let me keep it thankful. I love y'all. Thank you. Take care.